cloudier across many parts of England and Wales, but most of us should still see some bright or sunny spells breaking through. And in the sunshine, not feeling too bad, even if on paper temperatures are a few degrees below average for the time of year. Another chilly night to come tomorrow night into Wednesday, and then another largely fine day, really. High pressure sticks around, and so the settled weather stays with us as we go through the end of the week and heading towards the weekend. Signs of some rain arriving, but before then, really it's staying dry, some decent sunshine on offer, and temperatures, well, around average, maybe a touch below at times. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
I'm Andrew Pearce. This is GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight on the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
I'm Bev Turner. Thank you for joining us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Morning. Nigel Farage facing a backlash on his migration policy, which he announced yesterday.
Reform UK revealed plans to abolish indefinite leave to remain, and it's been described by charities as an unworkable stunt based on dodgy maths.
We will not only say that these people do not qualify for indefinite leave to remain, we will abolish indefinite leave to remain as a category in this country.
And as Britain grapples with immigration, can Nigel Farage's bold vision hold up under examination?
Hot water for the Duchess of York. 6 charities drop Sarah Ferguson over emails to the convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein.
The Scottish Government has announced £100,000 will be given to councils to control seagulls. It comes ahead of a summit in Inverness to look at the impact they're making.
And there are calls to bring back bungalows. Research suggesting that many people who are over 55 want to buy one in their next property move.
And could beaches be a thing of the past? There's a new holiday travel trend this autumn, and Hayley Sparks will tell you what it is.
And in sport this morning, PSG's Ousmane Dembele has won the Ballon d'Or, while England's Hannah Hampton won the Best Female Goalkeeper award. Also, Christian Horner leaves Red Bull with around £80 million in his back pocket, and the heat ramps up for this weekend's Ryder Cup.
Hello there, good morning. Another chilly start with some mist and fog in places, but otherwise plenty of sunshine. Stay tuned and I'll have all the details.
On this Tuesday morning, good to have you on board. Thank you for watching. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Penny Smith, and this is GB News Breakfast. Yeah, so here we are, and do you remember yesterday, the man over in the corner there was talking about the Conquer Championships having been cancelled because of the crop this year being tiddly.
Yes,
tiddly
because it was a dry summer.
Yes.
Dry summer, we know that. I was out on a walk yesterday, and one of these things fell on my head.
Did it?
And here we are, look, I've bought... Do you know what, actually? Not only were they very, very shiny when I picked them up, and they've almost instantly lost their lustre.
I have.
But it is true that most of them, those were the biggest ones I could find. I mean, I'm going to give Eamon the biggest one, which looks like a kidney bean.
Yeah.
But you know what? I wouldn't even call that a 2er. I mean, you know, obviously we always wanted a 6er or whatever. And look, that's the second biggest.
Thank you very much. Is this for the man in the corner here?
Yes, the man in the corner. And they are very, very small. I mean, that's barely bigger than a hazelnut.
Yes.
That one there.
Well, look, why don't you just be thankful that the one that hit you on the head was a small one? Because if it would have been a big one, you probably wouldn't even be here today.
Good point, actually. And do you know what? Horse chestnuts, they're not even from Britain. I mean, they're from Greece or Albania, they reckon. Bought over in the 16th century originally and then planted all over the place by King Charles I, head gardener, a man called, I think, John Tradescant. And so they're not even, they're
a beautiful tree.
They're a beautiful tree.
Yes,
they're a very fine tree.
When it fell on your head...
Yes.
Was it the green spiky?
No, not the green spiky. I think I'd have been more upset about that. No, it was just, weirdly, it was just one of these ones. It just must have split on the tree, because that's the thing about, you know, obviously...
And it's popped out.
And it just popped out, and it fell on my tree in a kind of rather comedy manner. It sort of bounced onto my bonce and then onto the floor.
Wow.
You know, in England, you guys call them conkers.
Yeah.
That's not what we call them.
What do you call them?
We call them cheesers.
Why? It doesn't even look... If you had cheese and somebody said to you...
No, cheesers, because they're from the chestnut tree.
OK, right, cheesers.
Yeah.
That is a bit odd, though.
It's not odd to me.
Well, it's odd to me. It's odd to him.
We're going to collect cheeses
Don't you bring me into it in your argument. You argue for yourself.
Sorry, but if somebody said to me, I'm off to go and get the cheeses, I'd think they were, I don't know, cheese strings or something.
You played, though, right?
Yeah.
But because now schools, they don't allow it because it's so dangerous.
Do they not?
Because
really,
of that,
dangerous.
Can catch people's knuckles and everything, so they've now banned a lot of schools.
I know.
Can't play Conkers anymore.
Oh, incidentally, well, if you have a name, whether it's Conkers or Cheesers, or if you've got some other name, let us know this morning what it is.
And also whether you do the thing of putting them in corners to stop the spiders coming in. They say
That's nonsense, though, right?
It's a load of old rubbish.
Yeah.
The spiders are coming in to try and find a
Conkers. Oh, is that what that's what it is?
They're trying to find
That's
little
right.
ones.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There you go. OK, Mr Paul, see you in about 15 minutes' time. Nigel Farage is facing a backlash after announcing he plans to scrap the indefinite leave to remain status for legal migrants and save the country billions of pounds.
We are the party that will make massive cuts to welfare spending. And if we don't, well, what is coming down the track will best part bankrupt us, although some might say we're almost there, looking at the 30-year gilt yields this morning. Under a reform government, welfare will be for UK citizens only. It will not be for foreign-born nationals.
Well, the Chancellor does not seem convinced, referring to Nigel Farage's savings plan as unrealistic.
It is a difficult challenge. I think everybody can see that. But simple gimmicks like those put forward by Reform that have no basis in reality and where the numbers just fall apart, that's not the way to tackle a very serious issue, and this Labour government are getting on and doing that.
But isn't it not just better doing something? Well, there you have criticism also from the right. That's the Shadow Home Secretary, Chris Philp. He accuses Reform of copying Conservative ideas.
Yeah, of course, a policy half-baked. Will join us in the studio as Deputy Editor for Spiked Online, Fraser Myers. Your thoughts on this?
Well, clearly Nigel Farage wants to put this issue on the agenda, and I think he'll be quite welcoming of some of the criticism and some of these rows, because it means we're talking about this issue. And in particular, the thing he wants to highlight is this idea of the Boris wave, which is this coinage used to basically denigrate the previous Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, who oversaw a massive increase in net migration, a quadrupling of net migration annually, despite the fact that, you know, he was elected as a Prime Minister on a Brexit ticket, saying that we're going to take back control of the borders. The sort of points-based immigration system he introduced, which people thought would lower immigration, ended up increasing it quite substantially. Clearly, Nigel Farage wants to say to people, say to Boris, don't come back. You know, I'm the person on the right you can trust. He wants to bury the Conservative Party. So I think as long as this row rumbles on, he'll be quite happy, even if people are picking apart the details.
Yeah, I mean, that's when you say picking apart the details, where is it? There's a piece, for example, I know it is the Daily Mirror, therefore left-wing, but the NHS wrecker saying thousands of crucial health staff facing deportation under proposals. And also, these figures, I know there are, you know, they always say, and it's so true, lies, damn lies and statistics, but they don't add up, do they?
Well, they're based on a sort of calculation from the Centre for Policy Studies, and they say that the data that's based on is now out of date. But again, I think Nigel Farage will be happy to wave a big number in people's faces, 230 billion or whatever it is, as the looming cost of essentially allowing people to claim benefits who arrived in that period when Boris Johnson was Prime Minister. That's what he will be happy to see. But the point about the NHS workers is key here. You know, Nigel Farage would probably have 80% support on his plan to deport illegal migrants. You know, there is not. There isn't really much of a debate as to whether those people should leave the country. When you're talking about legal migrants, people who have followed the rules, people who in many cases are working in critical roles, like in the NHS, that's a very different conversation. And, you know, perhaps he still will have the majority on his side, but that's when you sort of start to chip away at people. That's public support.
Yeah, and also this indefinite right to remain that we talked about. You know, this is something where people have worked hard to actually get the right to remain.
Yeah, and people will have stayed. For, you know, if you stay here for 5 years, if you've been working here for 5 years, then you're entitled to this. Now, look, the Labour government is also extending and changing the rules around indefinite leave to remain. So they want to extend that from 5 years to 10 years. So clearly there is an acknowledgement, even in the Labour Party, that there is a problem coming down the track of lots of people suddenly being able to claim indefinite leave to remain who arrived very recently, and it's suspected that they all then want to take out of the welfare system. So everyone sort of agrees that there's a problem, but no one is quite able to agree on a solution to it.
Yeah, you see, it's not just the welfare system either, is it? I mean, it's also the fact that people are then allowed to bring over dependents, and that is part of the reason why there have been so many more immigrants.
Yes, and if you look at the social care visa, under which a lot of people came over, 55% of the people granted those visas were actually dependents, not people working. Yeah. There's also, again, this is something that has since been tightened up, but there were large numbers of dependents coming over on student visas. This is something that will surprise a lot of people because you expect people to come over. You know, the way migration is often sold to us is that it will be young people coming over, probably single, probably not, you know, not with their families, not bringing older relatives or wives or children, but people starting to make their way in life, and when they're at their most productive. And the current visa system seems to not reflect that.
Also, everybody gets lumped together. Migrants, immigrants, asylum seekers, illegal immigrants.
But the
everybody
thing is,
gets lumped
nobody
together.
has an answer to this. At least Farage is putting forward a proposal that people are saying, you know, yeah, I'd go for that if you were able to implement that, if those figures stood up and whatever. But it's all, you look at, you know, left-wing elements of the press, and you look at social commentators, and they're all very keen to knock this down, knock this down. So what are they going to do?
Well, I think you're right that there's a lot of people who simply don't care about solving this problem, or don't even see it as a problem, and think that, you know, we should have an open border and that the public's concerns about immigration should be ignored. That clearly is not tenable, and it's not tenable for anyone who wants to be in government. I think immigration is probably the reason why Labour is doing so poorly, one of the many reasons, that and the economy. So, yeah, any serious party needs to be able to sort this out, and of course, there will be holes in any proposal. Well, that's the nature of politics.
OK, well, let us know what you think the holes are. If you agree with what Nigel Farage is saying or proposing, get in touch, have your say, and we'll be glad to reflect that throughout the programme. Now, Fraser, thank you very much indeed. The Duchess of York has now been dropped by 6 different charities: the Teenage Cancer Trust, the Wiltshire and Dorset Children's Hospice, Prevent Breast Cancer, Natasha Allergy Research Foundation, the British Heart Foundation, the Children's Literacy Charity. Now, all of this is following the revelation of emails to the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein, in which she called him a supreme friend.
So these emails came just weeks after publicly distancing herself from Epstein back in 2011. So 14 years ago is when that happened.
A spokesperson for the Duchess said the emails were sent in the context of advice she was given to try and mitigate Epstein and his threats to sue her for defamation. Let's get the thoughts now of royal commentator Richard Palmer on this one. Well, they're talking now that she's going to get royal... what's the word? She's going to be banishment, ostracised. Will the King now banish Fergie, screams the Daily Mail today. What do you think?
I think it's a really difficult issue. I mean, I think if anybody thinks about their own family and where somebody maybe gets in trouble one way or another, whether it's falling foul of the law or doing something else that brings shame on them, you know, when do you desert them as a family member, and when do you stand by them? I think the King will probably be thinking very carefully now about whether she should be invited to Christmas and whether Prince Andrew should again be invited to Sandringham for Christmas. My guess is that he will still, behind the scenes, try to keep her in the fold, but it's very difficult for them. She's been apparently down and out so many times and then come back. I mean, it does look like curtains for her at the moment, but I think you can possibly just never write her off because she always seems to come back.
Yes, the spokesman, a spokesman for the Duchess says, like many people, she was taken in by his lies as soon as she was aware of the extent of the allegations against him. She cut off contact, condemned him publicly, to the extent that he then threatened to sue her for defamation for associating him with paedophilia. The email was sent in the context of advice the Duchess was given to try to assuage Epstein and his threats. I suppose the question here is, she must have known that this email was around. You know, we know that emails sort of just never go away, do they? They just sit there waiting, a little bomb waiting to go off. The sort of part of me thinks, why didn't she just fess up earlier, say that this email was out there and explain then? It's always so much worse if you get found out and then you have to apologise.
Yes, it's a good question, but there are so many powerful people and well-known people who were friends with Epstein. I mean, we saw what happened with Lord Mandelson the other week. I think there is still much to come out about this affair, and you know, I think MPs will be looking into certainly Lord Mandelson's association with him, and there will be some people who will say that Parliament ought to be looking at the royal family as well, although Parliament's rules make it slightly more difficult.
Why? There's part of it. I mean, I think we all think that there are more of these revelations to come, and isn't it always better to actually come out, say, explain why you did whatever it was, if you have got an explanation, because at some stage these things will come out.
But I suppose they're always hoping they won't come out.
Well, you might be hoping, but we know in this world in particular, where you seem to be, you know, this is not the last revelation we are going to find with Epstein, you know, because as Richard was saying, you know, he was connected to so many famous people. Mm-hmm. He gathered them, didn't he? I mean, that was the point.
He
Sorry,
did.
Richard, answering the question.
But I'm also puzzled by this explanation that she was worried about being sued for defamation, because he'd been convicted of an offence involving an underage, involving a girl. So, you know, he was a convicted paedophile. So I can't really see how she had anything to worry about on that score.
Exactly. I think that's the point, isn't it? Yes, exactly. Is that an excuse? I mean, it's a right to reply, but...
Richard, thank you very much indeed. That's another royal row for us to talk about today. Thank you. Now we want to tell you about our latest programme, which launched last night. It was The Late Show Live. It was with Bev and Ben, and it's where we will be bringing you coverage of events from America and news from the White House. Here's what it involves.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show Live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Now, obviously, with us, it's a wee bit late for us to be watching at night.
It is.
Very good report so far about what went out. And we hope you watch tonight and you enjoy it. At least you know it is there. So good luck to Bev and Ben.
Absolutely. Let's get your weather update now with Honor Criswick.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's set to be another chilly start this morning, but it should be mostly dry, plenty of sunny spells, just feeling that little bit cooler as we head our way further into autumn. Now, there will be some showers around coast of East Anglia, parts of Sussex and Kent. Could see a fair few showers. These could be moderate to heavy. Also across the Northern Isles, there could be some showers here, but for the bulk of the country, mostly dry, a mix of cloud and also some sunny spells, fairly similar to what we saw yesterday afternoon, and temperatures are around about average for the time of year, highs reaching around 17 to 18 degrees Celsius, but around the mid-teens across many northern areas. Later into the evening, some showers could linger around for the time in fairly similar spots. So around coast of East Anglia, Sussex and Kent could still see some showers. Across much of England and Wales, though, it should be a mostly dry end to the day. Once again, a mix of cloud and also some clearer skies. Similar across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England and also Scotland. It should be a mostly dry end to the day, but still some showers just lingering across the very far northeast of Scotland. Now, through the overnight period, we have a mixture of clear skies and also light winds, so that does lead us into a risk of mist and fog, particularly as we head our way towards dawn. And once again, it is going to turn chilly under those clear spells, so a risk of frost as we head our way towards dawn once again, and still some lingering showers across the very far southeast. Most towns and cities dropping to around 5 to 6 degrees Celsius, particularly across the north, but in any rural spots, particularly under those clearer spells, it's likely will drop below freezing once again. So Wednesday morning, another fairly chilly start, any mist and fog clearing away quite readily. Still a chance of some showers across the far southeast, across central and eastern parts of England too, though they should be mostly isolated. So once again, another dry day, a mix of cloud and sunny spells and fairly similar temperatures to what we'll see this afternoon, highs reaching around 18 to 19 degrees Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
It was nippy out yesterday.
It's nippy out today as well. Very cold this morning. The winner of the Ballon d'Or last night.
The Flask of Gold, as we've renamed it.
Indeed. We'll tell you who won it. And the Lionesses, there as you see, winning multiple awards. Paul Coyte will be here to tell you all about what happened next.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
OK, the Ballon d'Or and all that goes with it. Last night, Paul will tell you who won what.
Yeah.
Ousmane Dembele. Ousmane Dembele.
Oh, right. I tell you what, it wasn't... Yeah.
That's the winner. Yeah. That's the winner.
No. It's your microphone, right. We're just making sure
Is it on? Is it on? It is. Yeah, it should be on. Yeah, it should be on.
Checking.
Yeah, we're on now.
Got it.
I'll say it again. Ousmane Dembele.
He's saying who is he?
PSG and France. Very good player, as you'd imagine. So he arrived just... I think we can probably see him getting the award, getting the Ballon d'Or, which is not a flask, by the way, Penny, that you did mention yesterday.
I know it is.
You will see. Yeah. There he is. That's Lamine Yamal there on the left. Oh, it's Ronaldinho there, who's the man that's going to announce it. And here comes Ousmane Dembele. Look, they've got the fireworks going on. Now, the awards are in Paris. I mentioned yesterday that it's French journalists that vote for this. Now, Ousmane Dembele plays for Paris Saint-Germain. Oh, there's a link there. 25 goals from 20 games from December to March last year. But I want to mention, and I know a slight favouritism here, Harry Kane scores goals day in, day out. And he was placed 13th in the list for the Ballon d'Or, which I think is outrageous.
No, but I think it's part of them saying it's time to move on. We've had a Harry Kane period and we're moving. I think that's their way of doing it.
But I don't think they've had a Harry Kane period when it comes to world football.
They think he's too old.
Do you think so?
I think he's near the end of his career now.
Oh, I wouldn't say so. He's still like 31.
I would say so.
And you know, he's back.
How long can he go on?
He's got another hat-trick at the weekend. I mean, the guy's unbelievable.
I think he's a great player. I mean, Manchester United were holding back from paying 100 million quid for him 2 years ago. Well, it would have been money well spent, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
I look at it instead of all the wasters that they went and bought instead.
You know, there's an interesting article in the Telegraph this morning that says 5 reasons why Harry Kane's going to come back to Spurs, which I very much enjoyed, by the way.
Did you?
Yeah, I did enjoy. I could give you 15 reasons.
And you saw it as a possibility?
You never know. Yeah, I think he'll probably leave at the end of the season, you know.
For those who don't know, how old is he?
63 years old. He's been knocking on.
Is he? My goodness, he looks very well.
He does look very well.
He obviously wears a lot of sunscreen.
Absolutely. 31. Harry is 31.
And that is
still
old,
England captain.
now?
Well, you know what?
Gosh, yes.
Well, when we talk about... Well, I mentioned Lamine Yamal, who was the young fella that was next to Ousmane Dembele. Now, he came second, and he also won the award for the young player. Now, he is 18 years old. He made his debut for Barcelona at 15. He was playing for Spain at 16.
Yeah.
And players are getting younger and younger. So when you say about Harry, that actually works that Harry could be his grandfather.
You see, I don't believe players are getting younger and younger. I think they got older and older, and now they're suddenly realising young was OK. I mean, when you look at the people like the Busby Babes and whatever, going back in the 50s and 60s, you know, and the idea that players like Howard Kendall was playing top-flight football at 17 years of age, you know? So I think that, you know, the idea that you win nothing with kids is nonsense. If you're good enough, you're old enough.
My voice didn't break till I was like 19, so I would have been a late bloomer, I think.
Don't you think that the good thing, though, in almost everything, is to have a mixture of younger and older, so that you've got the ones who can steady the ship, and then you've got the young ones who are leaping about like fleas.
In sport, you need everything. So young and old, and Alan Mullery, great Alan Mullery, always used to talk about player teams, and he would say, it's all very well, but you've got to have lovers and fighters. So you've got to have the tough ones, and you've got to have the softer ones. So it's the same as young and old. You need a mix of everything, and that...
Exactly. There we go. So I
sounds like a Blue Mink song I'm about to sing.
I think that with my philosophy, I think that I could go and actually move in and take over any football company, group, whatever they call them, team.
Start off by getting the name of what it is, a club or a team.
You couldn't take over the Lionesses. Their manager's doing very well in her own right. She picked up an award as well.
She won the female coach of the year. So, of course, England winning the Euros. So, congratulations. There's Serena Wiegmann. I love Serena Wiegmann. I think it was when they were in Trafalgar Square and then she was dancing. Honestly, I think she's fantastic.
She's great.
She's got exactly the right... She's got the steel, but she's got the fun that goes with it as well. Hannah Hampton. Now, there's Hannah Hampton with Donnarumma there, who's the Man City goalkeeper who won the Goalkeeper Award, the Lev Yashin Award, playing for PSG at the time. And Hannah Hampton, best female goalkeeper for England at the Euros, and I think it would be nice to hear what she had to say. Here's Hannah.
Achievement for me, I think it's an achievement for women's goalkeeping, that the award is finally now taking part. I stand on the shoulders of so many great goalkeepers of the past. Sitting along with my fellow nominees, it's an honour to be a part of such an incredible group, and the aspiring keepers of the future generation coming through and training so hard. I'd love to just thank my family, my brother who's here tonight, for all the sacrifices that you gave growing up, driving me around everywhere so I can fulfil my dream and be here tonight.
Something that's making a lot of the front page headlines as well as back page is in Formula One, Christian Horner.
From Hampton to Horner.
From Red Bull, and he's left...
Married to Jerry Halliwell.
Well, very rich Jerry Halliwell. Tell us more, Paul, why?
So, Red Bull principal, he was sacked in July. There were these so-called inappropriate texts. There was sexual harassment claims that he was twice cleared of, we should say. Then there was a power struggle at the team at Red Bull. So basically, he's been paid off. So it's not bad money. He was contracted up to 2030. The payoff, there's rumours. I mean, they're varying stories going from 80 million to 60 million, but whatever it is,
it's a lot of money.
Huge amount of money.
Now, next time you're back, we're going to be talking about Ryder Cup players and should they be paid. The Americans are being paid.
Yep.
Are the Europeans being paid?
Not a bean.
Right, I don't think you care. It's the honour of
They're
playing.
doing it for the reason of playing and winning.
Talk about that next time we're back. Great British Giveaway, here it is. Have a go.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British Giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
It's just after 6:30. Time now for our daily reflection.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Hello, my name is Joel Knight and I'm a vicar in the Church of England. This week we're reflecting on an encounter Jesus has in Luke chapter 17. It reads as follows: As Jesus was going into a village, 10 men who had leprosy met him. They stood at a distance. They stood far off, apart. It was a sad custom of the day for lepers to be kept distant, cast out or just on the outside looking in. Much has changed for the better since, but every society has its outcasts. The child on the playground cast out for the wrong look, the wrong clothes. The student cast out for an unfortunate social interaction. Social media is our new town square where pile-on shamings make our castings out public to the world. I suspect many of us have experienced being the outcast, and that can be a painful and lonely experience, desperate for someone to draw near. I suspect many of us have experience of keeping our distance from outcasts, careful not to speak up in support, careful not to get too close. How do we respond to the outcast? How do we respond to being the outcast? How do we think Jesus treats outcasts?
33 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock. Just looking at the front pages of the papers today. A question the Express is asking, we must make dementia an NHS priority. I thought it was an NHS priority. Scary. Scary is to think
that it isn't.
That it isn't.
Yeah.
That it isn't. So let us know your thoughts on that one. We'll be discussing the newspapers very shortly. Here's the traffic update.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Today, the M74 remains closed southbound from Junction 7 due to planned overnight maintenance. Drivers are encouraged to follow signposted detours and plan for extra travel time. Meanwhile, the A46 northbound is experiencing significant issues between the A435 near Alcester and the junction with the A422. All lanes are closed due to a collision and are scheduled to reopen between 7:30 and 7:45 this morning. Travellers in the area should expect delays and follow local diversions if necessary. And on the trains, the Elizabeth line faces disruptions between Ilford and Shenfield. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Up next on the programme, Donald Trump says paracetamol, using it in pregnancy, is linked to an increased risk of autism.
Yeah, what have the scientists actually said on that? More on that and other stories coming into the newsroom with David Wooding and Anna Firth, who are waiting there.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection. Tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Britain was once the envy of the world, but look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Front pages of the newspapers on this Tuesday morning, they shape up like this, beginning with The Times. Nigel Farage facing questions on migrant benefit sums. Do you believe them or not?
The Daily Mail leads with a new crisis for the palace. 7 charities severing links with the Duchess of York over damning Epstein email revelations.
Here's the Daily Telegraph. It reports that the Chancellor has been told by a think tank to launch a tax raid on pensioners. My goodness.
That's going to look good. The Sun leads with convicted paedophile and top Madeleine McCann suspect Christian Bruckner saying he has information to end the scandal.
Just finished the Daily Express there with that one I highlighted before the break. Dementia should be made a priority at the NHS, as experts warn. Patients may miss out on breakthroughs in care. It's a terrible situation, and why it isn't a priority, one doesn't really know. Joining us to give their thoughts on what you've just seen there, David Wooding and Anna Firth. Very good to see you both. Anna, we want to begin, though, with the medical story that, again, all the papers are covering today, and this is the link between paracetamol and autism, isn't it?
Yeah, autism.
Yes, I mean, this is a story...
As claimed by President Trump.
This is a story because Donald Trump has proclaimed publicly that women shouldn't be taking paracetamol. Now, I think there has to be an immediate health warning with anything that Donald Trump has to say about women. And in particular, this is the man that told us that we should be injecting ourselves with bleach in order to avert COVID. And he's complete. I would say that he's completely. On what I've read this morning, he's completely wrong in what he's saying. The medical experts are saying that women shouldn't be alarmed. You can take paracetamol. There is a big Swedish study of 2.5 million women that says no, there is not a link between taking paracetamol during pregnancy and autism. What there is a link, though, is if you have a fever and you don't take something like paracetamol and you carry on in a fevered state, because that can damage the baby and cause birth defects and complications.
But this is also because this announcement comes as part of a federal review fronted by the Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. into what is driving rising autism rates in the US. Now, there are many people who are saying the point about this rising autism is that actually it's diagnosis and it's widening the diagnosis.
Tylenol.
That was Donald Trump.
So raising awareness of autism as a problem and being undiagnosed, that's a valid issue.
Yes.
But that's a completely different issue to linking it to the everyday painkiller that women are taking up and down the country.
No, I think it's so worrying whenever you've got something which is just said like this. I think there will be many people who are looking at this and saying, hold on a second as well. Hold on. So anybody with an autistic child now, you could actually point at them and say, you shouldn't have taken paracetamol. It's your fault that the child has autism. You brought this about, which is, it's difficult enough. You've got pregnant women. It's a difficult time. It's an exciting time. But everything that you put in your mouth, you're worried about. Can I eat that cheese? Has that got wine in it? Everything is just so complicated. It's so awful.
And as you say, Penny, it's saying it after the event, isn't it? It's making people feel they're going to be looking back and feeling guilty when they don't need to look back and feel guilty. And it's irresponsible.
All right. So if we all have family and we all have female members of that family, what do you think, David, in terms of if you saw someone taking paracetamol, would you be opening your mouth and saying, I don't think you should do that?
No, I wouldn't. I think it's stigmatising women in a way. I look back to, when my children were young and we had the decision on the measles, mumps and rubella jab, and there were all sorts of studies around about that. And you have to make a decision. And the decision we made was that the risks to the child of not having the jab were probably worse than the risks of taking the jab. And so I think this is very similar. And there's a very good piece in the Mail here by Professor Gina Rippon, who is a Professor Emeritus of Cognitive Neuroimaging at the Aston Brain Centre near Birmingham. And she says some studies have found a link, but it's far too simplistic just to blame paracetamol for autism. and that genes play a role. It's not a single condition, so there cannot be a single cause, and it's dangerous to suggest otherwise. So why is the President of the United States going up and making a statement on a basis of a study by Harvard University, which wasn't conclusive anyway?
Exactly.
It makes you wonder whether he has a vested interest in it, or somebody's wound him up on this. I don't really understand.
Very brave to take on a giant pharmaceutical company, isn't it?
Yeah.
In this day and age, I mean, just one wonders the whole business links associated with this and whatever.
And also, you just think, oh my goodness, that will be drug companies versus people. There will be sort of already this. I can just see the courts being clogged up with this. And again, autism genes play a significant role. We all know that.
Well, look, we'll take a short break. We're back. We're going to be talking about the King and Sarah Ferguson. Should the King banish Fergie after events this week? We'll be discussing that next. But first, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast for some of the top European destinations.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Parts of Europe could see some heavy rain and some thundery downpours as we head our way into Wednesday. Mostly dry and settled across Greece, plenty of sunshine here, but through Italy, around the Adriatic coastline, also southern parts of France and Switzerland could see some heavy thundery downpours, a risk of large hail and also some strong gusty winds. Across Spain and Portugal, though, largely settled, plenty of sunshine, fairly similar across the Canary Islands too. A mostly settled end to the week with a chance of more showers heading into the weekend and temperatures in the mid-20s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
The cost of parking, it's increased by, wait for it, 500%.
And they've done that overnight without consultation, right?
Yeah.
So it now costs £4.85 an hour, right? And what's that going to do? It's going to stop people visiting. And it's not easy to get around York, I have to say. One road in, one road out type thing. Congestion around the place. Yes, there's car parking spaces, but goodness me, I mean, this is obviously very, very controversial, and these are the sort of taxes, indirect taxes, that come on all of us. It's now going to cost us so much money just to get there, just to see there. Tell us more.
That's right, Eamonn, and the City of York Council have introduced this to try and reduce congestion, to try and get more people on buses, more people cycling to go shopping. But of course, that infrastructure hasn't been put in place. There's not been extra buses put on. There's not been extra bike racks for people to park. And certainly when you're doing a shop, a lot of the shops here are greengrocers, butchers. How are you going to carry all that on a bike? I'd like to introduce you to Karen now. She's just come to pay for parking, expecting that it was going to be 80p. How do you feel when you've just seen this price rise today?
I am really annoyed. I've come out with enough money to pay basically for 2 hours. I'm having my hair done, which then, knowing now that this is, say, triple what it would have been, then my online payment isn't working. So I'm effectively not able to pay, which is really, really, really annoying.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
So, question front page of the Mail today is, will the King now banish Fergie? Anna, give us your view.
Yeah, I mean, this is on the front page of a number of papers. Well, I mean, Fergie has got herself into hot water, hasn't she, here yet again? And what her biggest problem here is that she has said one thing in public, that she disowned Epstein and he was a terrible paedophile, but what she was actually emailing to him was that he was her supreme friend. And it appears now, particularly according to the Daily Mail, that she was doing this for money, which is pretty grim. And I think she really has gone. It's beyond the pale, really, and she certainly can't have any part in any charity.
Well, she would say the advice she was given was to do this to dissuade Epstein from suing her.
Yes, but what she'd said about Epstein in the public domain was true. She said he's a paedophile. He was a convicted paedophile. So how could he sue her for defamation?
I think the question is, though, isn't it, David, is that headline, will the King now banish Fergie? I mean, the word banish is I don't know, it's one of those odd words. It sort of implies that at the palace gates, you know, the gates
she won't be invited to Sandringham for Christmas. She won't be invited to certain weddings.
Was she anyway?
Yeah.
And she's on the balcony for the odd events as well.
I think the unfortunate thing is, I think there has been an attempt to rehabilitate her recently, and it sort of just goes to show, doesn't it? Leopards don't change their spots.
Yeah. I mean, you have to feel sorry for the King. I mean, he just seems to have had a rapprochement with Prince Harry, and that seems to be moving in the right direction, and people feel quite happy for him that that's happened. And now, again, it's with the Yorks. We've had all the trouble with Andrew, and now with his...
It's a problem with Yorkshire. Yeah. No, not Yorkshire. Sorry, I take that back. It's a problem with the Yorks. David, can we talk about this? Because I think everybody will be going, yes, about time. The civil service, vegan days in the office hours are to be vetoed. This is about nonsense network events during work hours.
Yes, well, the government is going to crack down on these. I mean, I've done a few of these stories in my time. Vegan weekends where they take time off in work to have a diversity, or there's things like LGBT or stamp collectors even, or whatever it might be. They have these meetings, but it's all done in work time. And we, the taxpayer, are paying for it now. I mean, I'd like to see it happen in a newspaper office or in GB News or any other private company. They just say, get on with your job. But in the civil service, they seem to allow them all sorts of time to have these woke events. Anyway, the government is saying, we're going to crack down it. But when you read into the detail, all it means that it will be referred to the head of that department to decide whether to have it. Is that not happening already?
No, just stop it.
Yes.
Just stop it.
Just stop it.
I mean, I'm all for the Macmillan coffee morning, where during coffee you are donating to a really good cause.
Exactly.
But no, all of this stuff needs to stop. We actually, as a country, need to get back to working as hard as we can. We've absolutely got to get productivity going, and this is going in the wrong direction.
The one that struck me in the Telegraph was one about what's the word? Embarrassment about Britain's past. The Guilt of Being British seminar, which would cover the emotional weight of colonial history. Fancy stopping work to talk about that.
Gosh.
Ridiculous.
Gosh.
David, what do you think about the headline in The Sun, Bruckner, I can solve scandal of the century? This relates to Madeleine McCann.
Now, there's a very good scoop, and The Sun have been leading the way on the Bruckner story. This is Christian Bruckner, a rapist who is the key suspect in the Madeleine McCann inquiry, which has been going on for so long now, 20 years. He's recently been freed from prison in Germany with a tag, and he walked into a mobile phone shop, boasted about his tag, said, look, I'm controlled now, which suggested that he wasn't controlled before, and then tells the shopkeeper who's spoken to The Sun that he could solve the crime of the century, or the scandal of the century, I think was the phrase he used. And he knows some details, and he mentioned something about memory sticks. So the question is, what does he know? And why is he taunting us?
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
an evil man, he knows something.
Yeah.
And, he could hold the key to the Madeleine McCann case.
Do you not think, though, that the time has come where these things are all just suspected and there's no actual facts, to put the dreadful, dreadful case of Madeleine McCann, to one side, because does it help anybody putting it on the front page of the paper, such a sad case that hasn't been solved, when actually this is a convicted
But here's a man that will tell you it obviously sells papers.
Well,
that's
it does, but also, I mean, I feel so sorry for the McCann family.
Yeah.
They need closure. They need to find out what's happened, and every day they must wake up and say, "Where is our daughter?" They just need to know.
I agree with that completely, but
solved.
giving this publicity to a freed rapist, I don't know. I just don't think it helps anyone.
Guys, thank you very much indeed. We'll see you again in 45 minutes' time. Right now, we're going to have an overview of the weather situation for today and the rest of the week on our Criswick.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's set to be another chilly start this morning, but it should be mostly dry, plenty of sunny spells, just feeling that little bit cooler as we head our way further into autumn. Now, there will be some showers around coast of East Anglia, parts of Sussex and Kent. Could see a fair few showers. These could be moderate to heavy. Also across the Northern Isles, there could be some showers here, but for the bulk of the country, mostly dry, a mix of cloud and also some sunny spells, fairly similar to what we saw yesterday afternoon, and temperatures are around about average for the time of year, highs reaching around 17 to 18 degrees Celsius, but around the mid-teens across many northern areas. Later into the evening, some showers could linger around for the time in fairly similar spots. So around coast of East Anglia, Sussex and Kent could still see some showers. Across much of England and Wales, though, it should be a mostly dry end to the day. Once again, a mix of cloud and also some clearer skies. Similar across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England and also Scotland. It should be a mostly dry end to the day, but still some showers just lingering across the very far northeast of Scotland. Now, through the overnight period, we have a mixture of clear skies and also light winds, so that does lead us into a risk of mist and fog, particularly as we head our way towards dawn. And once again, it is going to turn chilly under those clear spells, so a risk of frost as we head our way towards dawn once again, and still some lingering showers across the very far southeast. Most towns and cities dropping to around 5 to 6 degrees Celsius, particularly across the north, but in any rural spots, particularly under those clearer spells, it's likely will drop below freezing once again. So Wednesday morning, another fairly chilly start, any mist and fog clearing away quite readily. Still a chance of some showers across the far southeast, across central and eastern parts of England too, though they should be mostly isolated. So once again, another dry day, a mix of cloud and sunny spells and fairly similar temperatures to what we'll see this afternoon, highs reaching around 18 to 19 degrees Celsius.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A86 west of Lagan is experiencing restrictions due to planned road maintenance, prompting drivers to allocate additional travel time. Meanwhile, on the A46 northbound between the A435 near Alcester and the A422, all lanes remain closed following a serious traffic collision, causing significant disruptions in the area. Motorists are strongly advised to use alternative routes and meticulously plan their journeys ahead of time to circumvent delays. On the railways, travellers will face ongoing disruptions affecting both the Elizabeth Line and the Gatwick Express services. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benamar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Nigel Farage faces a backlash on his migration policy announcement yesterday.
Reform UK revealed plans to abolish indefinite leave to remain, and it's been described by charities as an unworkable stunt based on dodgy maths.
We will not only say that these people do not qualify for indefinite leave to remain, we will abolish indefinite leave to remain as a category in this country.
As Britain grapples with immigration, can Nigel Farage's bold vision hold up under scrutiny?
Hot water for the Duchess of York. 6 charities drop Sarah Ferguson over emails to convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein.
The meteoric rise in autism is among the most alarming public health developments in history. There's never been anything like this.
Yeah, the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, claims the use of paracetamol in pregnancy is linked to a major increase in autism. What do the scientists say?
This is an interesting one. The Scottish Government has announced £100,000 will be given to councils. Why? To control seagulls. Now, this comes ahead of a summit in Inverness to look at the impact of the birds. If they're having an impact on you or your life, let us know this morning.
And the calls to bring back bungalows, because research suggests that many people over 55 want to buy one in their next property move.
And could beaches be a thing of the past? There's a new holiday travel trend coming in for the autumn, and Hayley Sparks will be telling you more about that after 8.
And sport this morning, England manager Serena Wiegmann, goalkeeper Hannah Hampton and Arsenal's women's team all won at the Ballon d'Or ceremony in Paris last night, with the main award going to PSG's Ousmane Dembélé. With the Ryder Cup this weekend, there's more controversy over Americans getting paid, and Christian Horner leaves Red Bull on gardening leave with around £80 million in his pocket, which buys a lot of secateurs and Flymos.
Hello there, good morning. Another chilly start with some mist and fog in places, but otherwise plenty of sunshine. Stay tuned and I'll have all the details.
Hello, good to have you on board on this Tuesday morning. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Penny Smith and this is GB News Breakfast.
Just when you think you've heard it all, Penny tells me, Paul, about what she cooks in her toaster.
Really?
In her toaster. And
does she cook things in her toaster?
How do you cook? And we're not talking toast here.
No, we're not talking toast.
No.
I have cooked fish fingers in my toaster, and it's very successful. Listen, I do have a toaster bag, which is a kind of, I don't know, I think a sort of Teflon-y little kind of bag. You're looking at me as though this is just the most outlandish idea.
Well, I am thinking that.
You pop things in and then you put the toaster down. So the reason I mention this is because they're saying fish fingers, bacon and steak are amongst the oddest food people have tried cooking in their toaster. Now, they haven't perhaps used a toaster bag because it says here
that's where they're going
that
wrong.
one chef admitted that it blew a fuse when they cooked something and others confessed that they sparked a fire. Now, you know, I could imagine that if you just popped your bacon in without your toaster bag and you just popped it in thinking, do you know what, I just can't be bothered to get the pan out and sort myself out. I'll just pop it in, love. I should imagine that the fat hitting
it's
the
the
elements
drippy business, isn't it? It's going to be everywhere.
Yeah, but you know what? The fish fingers they cook really well in a little toaster bag.
Do
And
they?
you know what? It's just great.
How many fish fingers would you have at a sitting, Penny?
Oh, I think I can definitely tidy away 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
I think I've done 6.
And how long does that take?
What, in the toaster? Well, I mean, you know, you put the toaster down, then you go and poddle about, sort of, you know, do other things.
Piddle and poddle,
Then
yeah.
get your condiments sorted, get the bread out.
What I'm trying to say is, surely it would be as quick to just put them under the grill.
No, because you've got to heat the grill. And
But do you get crispy both sides of the fish fingers? Because
No,
you've got to
don't.
be crispy on the
No,
outside.
you're right, actually. No, it's not particularly successful. You know, sometimes you just get really hungry. And rather than just snatching something
But you've
from
got
the
your
cupboard...
bag, you put it in the bag, you do this, you do that. Just stick it under the grill, it's all done, surely.
You get your bag out, ding, fish fingers, boom, into the toaster, ding. Go and do something.
Not sure I see the advantage.
I'm trying, but I'm struggling.
It's just really quick.
Right.
Because you don't have to heat the grill up.
And what else have you used the bag for heating in the toaster? Anything else?
Quite a lot of other things, yes.
Everything.
I'm afraid I've done scampi in there. You know, when they're out of the...
They're going, yes, we've been invited round to Penny's for dinner. I'm busy that day. I don't think I can make it. Has she got a
Scampi in the
toaster?
Yeah. Very good.
It is. You could probably, in fact, I haven't done it, but I'm just thinking now, do you know what, I might try chips.
That's giving you an idea for breakfast, maybe. 5 minutes past the hour of 7 o'clock. A very good morning to you. Nigel Farage facing a backlash after announcing he plans to scrap what is called indefinite leave to remain status for legal migrants and save the country billions with such a welfare plan.
We are the party that will make massive cuts to welfare spending. And if we don't, well, what is coming down the track will best part bankrupt us, although some might say we're almost there, looking at the 30-year gilt yields this morning. Under a reform government, welfare will be for UK citizens only. It will not be for foreign-born nationals.
Well, the Chancellor doesn't seem convinced. Rachel Reeves referring to Nigel Farage's savings plan as unrealistic.
It is a difficult challenge. I think everybody can see that. But simple gimmicks like those put forward by Reform that have no basis in reality and where the numbers just fall apart, that's not the way to tackle a very serious issue, and this Labour government are getting on and doing that.
Also criticism from the right. The Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp has accused Reform of copying Conservative ideas, and he calls their policy half-baked.
Yes, joining us in the studio, Deputy Editor for Spiked Online, Fraser Myers. And, you know, Eamonn posted a thought earlier this morning, saying essentially, you know, something needs to be done. Everybody agrees something needs to be done. At least this is actually something to be discussed.
Yeah, and every party is putting forward a proposal because they realise that because of the exceptionally large amount of immigration that there was basically after the COVID lockdowns during Boris Johnson's premiership, the so-called Boris wave, as Nigel Farage wants to call it. There are going to be lots of people who will be eligible for leave to remain and therefore, crucially, will be eligible to claim benefits. Everyone knows this is a problem, so Labour has proposed extending the period that you'd have to stay here before you're eligible for leave to remain. The Conservatives have a similar proposal to Nigel Farage. They want to reform leave to remain rather than indefinite leave to remain rather than scrapping it. So, yeah, clearly everyone agrees there's a problem, and Nigel Farage, in typical Nigel Farage fashion, has gone the furthest of everyone.
It's not just about benefits, though, is it? It's about the dependents, because as soon as you've got somebody who's in situ, then the dependents can come over, and that expands legal immigration.
Yes, that's right. And people would be surprised to know that under certain visa schemes, there are already, even before indefinite leave to remain kicks in, already a large number of dependents that have been coming over over the past couple of years. So actually 55% of social care visas were granted to dependents, not to people who were actually working in the social care sector. So a lot of the time where you have things where it seems, I think most people would agree that we're quite happy for people to come over here and work in the social care system. I don't think that's too contentious. But if they're bringing whole families over, particularly, we're not just talking about wives and husbands, but also children, elderly relatives, things like that. That's an entirely different conversation.
Yeah. I mean, the point is that there will be people looking at this and going, what about you mentioned the care system. The care system, the NHS, would probably fall apart if you actually followed this through.
And this is always the complexity when talking about immigration. And often, actually, even if you look at just polling, when people are asked about individual cases, individual exceptions, there is a high level of support for immigration for the NHS, a high level of support for immigration for social care, a high level of support, for instance, many of the people who came over in that period came from Ukraine, came from Hong Kong, fleeing very specific, and, these are very clear, there's a clear humanitarian imperative for those people to stay here. Yeah. It's not clear whether they're going to be included yet in this crackdown on immigration, and I think a lot of people hope that they're not, for instance.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, that's the point, isn't it, as you say. It's a bit more complex, it's a bit more interconnected than you think, and when you're just talking about figures, it's very easy to forget that actually there are real human beings at the end of this as well.
Fraser, we leave it there. Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Final comment. Thank you.
10 minutes past the hour of 7 o'clock. The Duchess of York's now being dropped by 7 different charities. That follows the revelation of emails to convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein, in which she called him a supreme friend.
Yes, these emails came just weeks after publicly distancing herself from Epstein. That was back in 2011.
A spokesperson for her has said that the emails were sent in the context of advice she was given to try and mitigate Epstein and his threats to sue her for defamation. We're now joined by former royal correspondent. We're delighted to hear the thoughts of Jenny Bond on this. Jenny, just when you thought you'd heard it all with Fergie, there we go. How much trouble is this? And the question being asked in the front pages of some of the papers today, will the King now banish her from royal circles?
Well, I'm not quite sure how you go about banning someone completely from your family, but being banned from all public appearances, I think, must now be on the cards. And also, it gives him more reason, I think, to try to dislodge the couple from Royal Lodge, which he's been trying to do for some time. I imagine that the King will be maybe chatting with his siblings. You've got to remember, Andrew is his brother, Sarah is his ex-sister-in-law, and Edward and Anne will probably be part of I would have thought, a family gathering to talk about what to do. What do you do with a problem like Prince Andrew and now Sarah Ferguson? Every decade, it seems, she enormously embarrasses herself. Think back to 1992, having her toes sucked by her financial advisor. Then we went on when she was trying to sell access to her husband, the Duke of York, to a man who turned out to be an undercover reporter. And now we have this. The others were personal embarrassments, if you like, but this involves children. This involves a paedophile. This involves her trying to save her skin by sucking up to a man who is as toxic in death as he was in life.
The right course of action, do you feel, by these charities, most of them children's charities, is to terminate links with her?
Yes, this is the ultimate public humiliation, I think, for Sarah Ferguson. And of course, children's charities can't be associated with someone who, according to today's reports by Andrew Lowney, who has written a book about the Yorks, according to Kim, she continued her association with Jeffrey Epstein long after, at least 2 years after she said, I will sever all my links with him. So I think there's more to come on this. He also states that the money lent to Sarah Ferguson von Epstein wasn't just £15,000, could indeed be up to £2 million. So there is more to come.
Could I just ask you, Jenny, why this constant need for money from her? Why does she never seem to have any money? And why is she always looking for it and therefore being in debt to people because of it?
Very good point, Eamonn. Yeah, I think this does come down to a couple who are utterly seduced by money, who are consumed by avarice and greed. I mean, I would like to say I don't think that Sarah is essentially a bad person, but she's an extraordinarily misguided person. She's someone, if you read her book that she wrote many years ago, who believed and probably does believe now that she's always been unworthy, unattractive, unappealing, useless, an imposter syndrome. She couldn't believe people loved her so much when she got married. And I'm afraid she will see this, and it may be true, that it's all a symptom of her complete lack of self-esteem and a need to prove herself, to prove she can bring in money, to prove she can be wealthy. And every time she self-sabotages, she can't help herself.
Now, am I right in thinking that Prince Andrew gets no public money? That's right, isn't it? No taxpayer-funded security. He's not got this personal stipend that he was originally paid by Queen Elizabeth. So he's got no funds. I mean, you know, there was this suggestion that he adopt a more frugal existence, but that has not happened, allegedly.
Yes, the King has withdrawn his security from around Royal Lodge, so he has to pay for everything himself. I can't, obviously we don't know the private details of his finances. Yeah. I can't believe that the late Queen actually would have left him penniless. I don't know what was in her will, but, you know, you would think that he did have some money. But certainly they always seem to be strapped for cash, and yet they insist on this luxurious life in a property that costs hundreds of £1,000s a year to simply maintain. Again, they are very, and I know this from meeting Andrew, I'm sorry to say he is absolutely stuck up on his status, but he has become a complete discredit, I'm afraid, to his family and to his status as a royal prince.
What happens next, Jenny?
Well, I imagine that we may get a gushing apology, a public apology from the Duchess, or she will be devastated by this. I imagine she's, you know, hiding under her duvet right now. I think there would be a family conflab about what will happen, and can she be seen with the family at all in the future. I think, you know, that they should cut their losses now, the royal family, and say, perhaps privately or at family occasions such as a funeral, maybe a wedding, they could be allowed, but not to be seen in public. I mean, they're going to have to creep in the back door. I think it's pretty much over for the Yorks now.
OK, Jenny Bond, thank you very much indeed. Thank you. 16 minutes past 7.
Yeah, time for your weather now with Honor Chiswick.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's set to be another chilly start this morning, but it should be mostly dry, plenty of sunny spells, just feeling that little bit cooler as we head our way further into autumn. Now, there will be some showers around coast of East Anglia, parts of Sussex and Kent could see a fair few showers. These could be moderate to heavy. Also across the Northern Isles, there could be some showers here, but for the bulk of the country, mostly dry, a mix of cloud and also some sunny spells, fairly similar to what we saw yesterday afternoon, and temperatures are around about average for the time of year, highs reaching around 17 to 18 degrees Celsius, but around the mid-teens across many northern areas. Later into the evening, some showers could linger around for the time in fairly similar spots. So around coast of East Anglia, Sussex and Kent could still see some showers. Across much of England and Wales, though, it should be a mostly dry end to the day. Once again, a mix of cloud and also some clearer skies. Similar across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England and also Scotland. It should be a mostly dry end to the day, but still some showers just lingering across the very far northeast of Scotland. Now, through the overnight period, we have a mixture of clear skies and also light winds, so that does lead us into a risk of mist and fog, particularly as we head our way towards dawn. And once again, it is going to turn chilly under those clear spells, so a risk of frost as we head our way towards dawn once again, and still some lingering showers across the very far southeast. Most towns and cities dropping to around 5 to 6 degrees Celsius, particularly across the north, but in any rural spots, particularly under those clearer spells, it's likely will drop below freezing once again. So Wednesday morning, another fairly chilly start, any mist and fog clearing away quite readily. Still a chance of some showers across the far southeast, across central and eastern parts of England too, though they should be mostly isolated. So once again, another dry day, a mix of cloud and sunny spells, and fairly similar temperatures to what we'll see this afternoon, highs reaching around 18 to 19 degrees Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Just interesting to read this morning, Penny.
Oh, yeah.
Big Hollywood stars, Tom Hanks, Florence Pugh, Jennifer Aniston.
They're going to talk to us.
No, they have joined with 400 other celebrities to sign a letter slamming ABC's what they term fascist decision to pull Jimmy Kimmel off the air. And what has happened?
Jimmy Kimmel's back on air. It's back on air tonight after, he was suspended indefinitely over his what they called offensive comments about Charlie Kirk's death. And then President Trump said, brilliant, that's because his ratings are rubbish and everything else. Actually, his ratings aren't, it's a bit more complicated as per usual. But anyway, yeah, back on air tonight.
But it's interesting, woman in ABC says your history, and the next minute he's back on air.
They did only suspend him at the time. It's just that President Trump kind of went, that's it, he's gone, made it sound like he'd actually gone. Yeah.
Well, OK. The Great British Giveaway, plenty of time for you to become our biggest winner to date. You will drive away with a brand new 4-berth motorhome, and you will bank £30,000, a prize package worth over 104 grand.
Yeah, here's all the details.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British Giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry starts at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Right, we'll take a break there. Should there be a crackdown on cyclists? So do they annoy you by going through lights? Do they ride up pavements?
Pavements, exactly. Yeah. And ride the wrong way up one-way streets whilst texting on their phone. Yeah. Just a few of those things.
Be very careful. They don't like being criticised. But anyway, we're going to discuss both sides of the argument right after this.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Okay, going to have a big discussion now about cyclists and what they do to annoy you. I mean, cycling is very good for you.
Yeah.
Maybe more of us should be doing it, but when it comes to mounting the pavement, running through red lights...
Going the wrong way up one-way streets,
Mm-hmm.
not doing any indicating, being on their phones as they trundle about and go very fast, on their electric bikes in particular, and don't obey any rules of the road. Just yesterday, crossing a road, it was one of the Pelican lights, and a woman just decided that she didn't really care about that, so she just weaved her way through on her green line bike, which is an electric bike for those who don't.
OK. Now there are plans afoot to introduce tougher penalties on them. Will Godley, GB News reporter, took to the streets of London to find out more. Here's his report.
Cyclists who run a red or ride on the pavement could face hefty fines here in the City of London as police look to draw up new ways to tackle dodgy cycling. But they say the streets have never been safer. So are these new measures really necessary? I took to the streets of London to find out. Going away at the red light, sir?
What do you look like to you?
You are now. Were you going to stop?
None of your business.
Abide by the traffic laws and stop, and because it's dangerous otherwise. Pedestrians walking across the crossings and...
You're going to stop at the red light, sir? The police today announcing they're looking at making it more tricky for cyclists who don't stop at red lights. You could be fined upwards of 50 quid. What do you think of that?
Oh, it's a good thing. I was sorry about it. I was being left.
If you skip the red light, you could be fined.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, you should be fined, yeah.
They're looking at imposing fines on people who cycle on the pavement. Do you think, would you like to be fined?
So this morning we're asking, is it time for a crackdown on cycling?
Yes, to debate this, we are joined by motoring journalist Amanda Stretton and co-founder of Stop Killing Cyclists,
Donncha McCarthy.
Yeah.
Donncha, so there is, I mean, before we get into the minutiae of all of this, there tends to be a great defensive thing on behalf of cyclists, an aggression almost, that if they're questioned, like we saw a cyclist there saying, sir, were you going to go through that red light? None of your business. They can be very defensive, cyclists, justifiably so.
Well, I think if you ever challenge the driver for when they're using mobile phones, they actually can get murderous. You have seen drivers, I've actually had drivers drive their car at me to try and kill me because I challenged them using mobile phones. So the aggression is extraordinary from drivers when they're challenged also, Eamonn. I think but let's go back to basics. The purpose of the law is to protect the public, yes? And the purpose of enforcement is to protect the public. Over the last 15 years, how many people do you think were killed by cyclists red light jumping?
No idea, no idea.
One person in 15 years. How many people do you think were killed by red light jumping by drivers?
Well, maybe 15 a day. Who knows?
700 people were killed in the last 15 years by red light jumping. And every time I come on the TV, it's never to talk about red light jumping by drivers. It's always to talk about the tiny, statistically invisible number of people killed by red light jumping.
Well, it's not just about, but sorry to jump in here, but it's not just about killing people, is it? It's about being injured, and I'm sure that there are, and I know there are, in fact, there are people who get injured by cyclists. There's also the fact that, you know, people see this, they see cyclists getting away with it. That has a knock-on effect with how we actually view everything. And of course, all cyclists get tainted by the same thing. I mean, that is a particular issue, isn't it? I mean, every single day I walk down one space and there are always cyclists on the pavement. They don't care about little old ladies, they don't care about people with dogs, they don't care about children, they don't care about anybody, and we've all seen it.
There are people who are irresponsible cyclists. There are people who are responsible drivers.
There are.
But I'm sorry, Penny, when it comes back to pavement cycling, you raise pavement cycling, 99.9% of the people killed on our pavements are killed by drivers. You talk about people being selfish and not caring. 40% of drivers drive with mobile phones. That is lethal. Driving with a cyclist with a mobile phone is not lethal. For 85% of drivers break the law on speeding. Now, if we want equality for cycling and drivers, I say yes, let's make the law equal. And as the law at present says that a cyclist with electric bike cannot go faster than 15 miles per hour. Why can't we do that for drivers, that they can't break the speed limit?
Let's hear from Amanda. Amanda, you've been listening very patiently to what Donncha is saying there. But he was talking about making things equal. And the whole thing is, I suppose the roads are for all of us. They're not just for drivers or cyclists. I don't know how you get that message through or what we're going to do about it. What are your theories?
Well, I think to a very large extent he's right. I mean, we do need to make the roads safer for everybody. Cyclists, motorists and pedestrians. The highway code was changed a few years ago, giving priority to cyclists over cars. But I think the danger here is that, you know, it doesn't take an awful lot of imagination to imagine that if a car and a cyclist come together, the car is going to come out slightly better than the cyclist. So this isn't a question of right. It is a question of vulnerability. And I think the danger here is that when changes are made that make the roads, or the idea being they make the roads safer for everybody, suddenly people start thinking they have a right. And this is the problem, because nobody has a greater right than anybody else. Roads need to be safer, and we all need to abide by the same rules that are in the highway code. That applies to motorists and cyclists. And I think, you know, motorists do get fined and receive points on their licence and fines if they jump a red light and if they use a mobile phone. And therefore, the same should be true for a cyclist as well. So I don't think this is... I think we need to be very clear here about making the roads safer for absolutely all road users, pedestrians, cyclists and car users. But I think there are many cyclists who are completely unaware that the highway code actually does apply to them as well, because of course you don't need a driving licence to ride a bicycle. There's a whole section in the highway code advising cyclists with both advisories, but also rules that they have to abide. Riding on a pavement is one. And of course, not all cyclists are bad, not all road users are bad.
No, that's true.
But
and also, can I just butt in there? But also, the other problem is that if you're in a car, you have a registration licence. You can easily take a picture of that and therefore follow it up. The problem with cyclists is,
and that is exactly where this new
actually, we all agree that the roads need to be made safer. I think what we also remember is that a tiny fraction of the transport budget is being invested in safer roads. We've got less than around 1% of the total road budget spent on cycling. We have to make our roads safer. Only at the moment 1% of roads have cycle lanes. You talk about people cycling on pavements. Quite often the studies are carried out. If somebody cycles on the pavements, usually because there's no safe way of cycling on the road. And
but it still doesn't. I'm sorry, but it still does not mean that they can ride on a pavement.
In Britain,
because there are still many more pedestrians than there are cyclists, and so it still doesn't mean they can ride on a pavement. Now, I live in Oxford,
I'm saying
which is a huge cycling, a huge cycling city, and I have seen some of the worst cycling ever with mothers and children taking their children to school. And I'm a huge advocate of people.
Please, can I talk about children cycling to school? You're absolutely right. In Holland, 70% of kids cycle to school. 70%. In the United Kingdom, only 2% because we don't have the infrastructure. We need to invest the significant amount more in.
If I may pick you up on a few of these points.
If you can just, we can't hear you and you both speak together. If we just very briefly let Amanda come back on that. Sorry, Amanda.
Right, you're right about infrastructure, but we live in a medieval-based society with medieval roads and town structures, so we don't always have the ability. So it's lovely to say we need to do it, but it's not possible.
The medieval cities of Europe do it.
Okay.
The medieval cities of Europe have 70% of people.
Sorry. If you could just stop interrupting. I said it's not always possible. I didn't say it is impossible. So just to be crystal clear about what I've said there. The second thing is, please explain to me why it is in any way defensible that a woman driving her daughter to school, following her to school, is in a left-hand slip lane of a road where the traffic is only allowed to turn left. She's undercutting the traffic in order to go straight on, and her daughter very, very nearly got hit by a car who was turning left. The car was doing the right thing. Now, that is indefensible, and all we are saying here is that the same rules should apply to cyclists as should motorists.
Well, we could even it up and everybody stay safe. Guys, thank you both very much indeed for your arguments today. You've got people thinking. We'll have to leave it there. Thank you.
Yes, coming up, the Lioness has had a successful evening at the Ballon d'Or Awards, winning 2 awards. Paul's going to be here telling you all about it next.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A86 at Dalchallie, west of Lagan, is restricted in both directions due to planned maintenance. Motorists are advised to proceed with caution and allocate extra time for their journey. Meanwhile, on the A19 northbound between the A689 and the A179, there is a broken down vehicle causing delays. Drivers should watch for one of 2 lanes closed. And on the trains, disruptions are affecting the Elizabeth line between Ilford and Shenfield and the Gatwick Express between Brighton and Haywards Heath. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country. There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor. Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mr. Paul's got the sport. Last time around we were talking about the Ryder Cup this weekend, Paul, which is going to be huge to look forward to. And there's a row brewing over player pay.
Yeah, this is the Americans. So the Americans are insisting that they get paid for playing in the Ryder Cup, whereas the Europeans are saying, we don't want money. You know, this is much more important. These are guys that are earning a huge amount of money.
I heard a ridiculous argument, one of them saying something like, oh, but it's for charity. I'm giving my money away to charity. Why ask for the money if you're going to give it away to charity?
Well, the rule is they're getting, this is the Americans, they're getting $500,000 per man. And then it's like, yeah, but we're giving $300,000 to charity. It's like, well, what about the other 200,000? Keegan Bradley, who is the captain of the American side, he said, I'm giving the whole lot. I mean, it shouldn't even be a thing.
Just don't do it.
Exactly.
If nobody gets paid, and then, or just don't. In that case, just tell them if you don't want to. We're not going to pay you, so turn up or don't turn up.
There's more to it than this. It's the dream for every golfer to play in the Ryder Cup. Europe hold it at the moment after winning in Italy, so it's going over to America. It starts on Friday, so it's Bethpage Black in New York is the name of the course. And it is, you know what, every year it gets bigger and bigger, and this has been going for a very long time. And what I'm going to particularly enjoy, which makes it more exciting when we beat them, is the fact that the American fans are a nightmare at the Ryder Cup. They're giving a USA, screaming obscenity, shouting at golfers. So the British and European golfers been told, look, just try and keep it together. Don't rise to it. Just smile, move on. But it's going to be very tough. But I would, in the words of Kevin Keegan, I would love it if we managed to beat them. So
also, you could occasionally just, I think one could mutter with the microphones picking it up. Oh, that's another stroke worth 20 grand.
There you go. See, honestly, you've got it, haven't you? So there we are.
I don't know
Sledging, they call that.
I don't know which side of the bed I woke up on.
You can sledge, and it would be great. So anyway, Europe are the current holders. Last time that Europe won in the USA was 2012. So usually the way it goes, we win over here, they will win over there.
Yeah.
So it kicks off on Friday.
This is fascinating in terms of a sporting event. This is a record over a mile for
stroller pushing. Pushchairs.
Baby strollers.
Baby pushchairs.
Strollers, is that like it's not like a pram, it's not a
it's a pram. It's what they call them in America. Strollers are a little pram. So have you ever seen where joggers will go out and they actually...
Oh yeah, they've got the running ones,
yes,
often with 3 wheels, haven't they?
That's it.
Yeah, okay.
So there is a new world record, and this is unbelievable. Have a look at this. This is a man called Silas France, and he has run a mile...
There's no baby in there.
There is. Have a look. There is. There's a baby in there.
No,
there is a baby. Look.
No.
There's a baby. It's a real baby.
That is not a real baby.
It's a confused real baby thinking, what on earth is going on?
Child cruelty, that's what's going on.
It's a mile. So he ran a mile 4:26.29, which is unbelievable. But just going around the track, the baby's like, what on earth is going on? So there is a new world record for a baby stroller pushing his 4 minutes, 26 seconds.
And a real baby would be just throwing stuff out of there as well, and the mum would have to be stopping to pick it up.
There were no rusks or any of those little...
Saying?
Throw, there's nothing in there. Baby was strapped in very carefully.
No harm came to any of those
No
children.
harm came to any
Paul, thank you very much indeed. We'll leave it there. Still to come. GPs are told they must stop dismissing patients' fears.
Yeah, but
more on that and other stories coming into the newsroom. And if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast for the top European destinations.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Parts of Europe could see some heavy rain and some thundery downpours as we head our way into Wednesday. Mostly dry and settled across Greece, plenty of sunshine here, but through Italy, around the Adriatic coastline, also southern parts of France and Switzerland could see some heavy thundery downpours, a risk of large hail and also some strong gusty winds. Across Spain and Portugal, though, largely settled, plenty of sunshine, fairly similar across the Canary Islands too. A mostly settled end to the week with a chance of more showers heading into the weekend and temperatures in the mid-20s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
This week, an extraordinary art discovery was made on an estate agent's listing in Mar del Plata in Argentina. Above a velvet sofa hangs an old master portrait lost for more than 80 years, looted by the Nazis. Its reappearance has reignited interest in the long quest to restore stolen heritage. Joining me now is historian Michaela Hume.
It's a fascinating story. So a lady who is a descendant of a former soldier who worked with Hermann Göring has, it is believed for years, has had some art that has been looted, that was looted during World War II. And I think people have approached her about this over the years, and she's categorically denied having any looted art. And she goes then to put one of the houses, I think that was owned by her father, up for sale, and hasn't realised that art that is believed to have been looted is actually on these images that the estate agent has taken.
Although it is extraordinary, it's kind of not entirely a surprise in the sense that the flat did belong to a Nazi official, is that right?
That's correct, yeah. And we know that Hermann Göring himself was a collector of art. I think during the 1940s, it was said that he was getting, on average, about 3, paintings, what we would call masterpiece paintings, a week. So we know that a large percentage of this looted art was going to him. It was even said that he had masterpieces just hung up in his cabin in the country, so it's highly plausible that he has given a piece of art to one of his right-hand men that has then been, passed down to his daughter.
The People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Now, joining us to go through what's making the news, former editor of the Sunday Express, David Winning and former Conservative MP Anna Firth. Are you just checking whether you've got your things in the right order?
We have, yeah.
We are. Okay, are you right? What are you going to start off with? Where are we going to begin? Who would like to begin? Okay.
We'll talk about Nigel Farage, shall we?
We talked quite a lot about Nigel Farage. This is about how much he could save, allegedly, by banning all migrants from receiving benefits. But, I mean, there are lots of people saying, you know, the figures don't add up.
I think two things which haven't already been said here. One is this word Boris swell. Boris Wave. Boris Wave.
I was going to say
Boris Wave.
Interesting.
I mean, this is all about the figures, the number of people who came into Britain after Brexit who were not. Because he lifted the restrictions on outside of Europe, and we had something like 900,000 people came in 2023 and another 700,000 plus in 2024. And they're blaming it all on that. But that aside, on the Nigel Farage statement, I think most people don't really care about whether the figures add up or not. They've seen what happened for 14 years of the Conservatives. They think the Labour government's even worse after 14 months, and they just think, to hell with a lot of you, and we're prepared to give somebody else a go. Now, whether over the course of the next few years, the drip of stories like this testing Nigel Farage will have an impact remains to be seen. But for now, people don't really care about
what I find utterly extraordinary, he's leading a party of, 5 MPs now, and yet he's getting this phenomenal amount of publicity. And all this is a half-baked version of the deportation plan, which the Conservatives have already developed into a bill, which actually has a whole raft of sensible measures in it. So, like saying if you want to come to this country, you have to be earning 38,000.
But Anna, you could also argue Farage is coming forward with adventurous measures and with measures that are exciting people and making think we could actually solve this problem, whereas no one else is coming forward with plans that we think, that'll put an end to all of this.
Yeah, but you see, that's the danger, I think, he's riding a wave, and of course, you know, the Conservatives did not get immigration right, but before the last election, they actually did have a plan in 2 parts. Obviously, the Rwanda Big Deterrent and the Illegal Migration Act, which is going to sort the processing out.
Anna, while I have you, I want to talk about housing and 20 years ago, there were 11% of new houses in the country were bungalows. Last year, 1% were. And I can understand all the reasons for that, because land is such a premium, and they want to build expensive houses, or expensive as they can, on land, and houses that you could cram a lot of people into and whatever. But a bungalow shortage is out there, and the new generation there's a lot of people who are in their 50s now and who want to move to bungalows.
Well, I am going to make an immediate plug for wonderful Leon C, because we have lots of lovely bungalows. And I remember my grandparents being in a bungalow, and they loved the bungalow, obviously because it's on 1 story, but also because it has a garden, so they could grow their vegetables and grow all their flowers.
Well, to be fair, you can grow vegetables and flowers in a 2-storey house if it's got a garden, or a 3-storey house.
You can, but bungalows have their place. But what I think is missing here is one of the big things that's stopping people downsizing is the cost of moving. I was just totting up. Supposing you're in a £500,000 house and you want to downsize to something 300,000. That is stamp duty and estate agents, solicitors, removals, all the rest of it. That's going to cost £15,000. That is a big deterrent to people to downsizing. So if we want to free up the housing market a bit, and we do need more liquidity in the housing market, why don't we take stamp duty off downsizing? Because when I was in a council and a portfolio holder, we worked out we had enough bedrooms in the entire authority area for everybody to have a bedroom. We didn't need to have anybody who was homeless, but people were in the wrong homes.
Well, I'm one of those people in the market for a bungalow, and that is...
Is that why you just came on here? Is that what you want to do? You're just asking for a...
No, it's a mobility issue from my point of view, and it's a serious issue that I'm making here about people not being as mobile as they would like to be. Have you ever thought about it, David?
Yeah, I mean, I remember my parents when I was younger saying, "I get older, I'd like to have a little bungalow." It seemed to be a dream of middle-aged people.
It is also, as Eamonn puts it, a very serious point about the fact that as you get older, as you get a bit less mobile,
other things don't move.
There are other things that are things to worry about.
OK. Guys, got to say thank you very much indeed for that. Appreciate that. And we're going to go to Honor Chiswick, as she has got the weather picture for this Tuesday.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's set to be another chilly start this morning, but it should be mostly dry. Plenty of sunny spells, just feeling that little bit cooler as we head our way further into autumn. Now, there will be some showers around coast of East Anglia, parts of Sussex and Kent. Could see a fair few showers. These could be moderate to heavy. Also across the Northern Isles, there could be some showers here, but for the bulk of the country, mostly dry, a mix of cloud and also some sunny spells, fairly similar to what we saw yesterday afternoon, and temperatures are around about average for the time of year, highs reaching around 17 to 18 degrees Celsius, but around the mid-teens across many northern areas. Later into the evening, some showers could linger around for the time in fairly similar spots. So around coast of East Anglia, Sussex and Kent could still see some showers. Across much of England and Wales, though, it should be a mostly dry end to the day. Once again, a mix of cloud and also some clearer skies. Similar across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England and also Scotland. It should be a mostly dry end to the day, but still some showers just lingering across the very far northeast of Scotland. Now, through the overnight period, we have a mixture of clear skies and also light winds, so that does lead us into a risk of mist and fog, particularly as we head our way towards dawn. And once again, it is going to turn chilly under those clear spells, so a risk of frost as we head our way towards dawn once again, and still some lingering showers across the very far southeast. Most towns and cities dropping to around 5 to 6 degrees Celsius, particularly across the north, but in any rural spots, particularly under those clearer spells, it's likely will drop below freezing once again. So Wednesday morning, another fairly chilly start, any mist and fog clearing away quite readily. Still a chance of some showers across the far southeast, across central and eastern parts of England too, but they should be mostly isolated. So once again, another dry day, a mix of cloud and sunny spells and fairly similar temperatures to what we'll see this afternoon, highs reaching around 18 to 19 degrees Celsius.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A96 at Keith is restricted due to roadworks with temporary lights, resulting in extra travel time. In Surrey, the M25 anti-clockwise between junctions 9 and 8 is congested after a collision, closing 3 lanes. Normal conditions are expected between 9:15 and 9:30 this morning. In Salford, the M60 anti-clockwise delays follow an earlier incident between junctions 14 and 13, with 1 lane closed. On the trains, London North Western has no services between Crewe and Stafford via Stoke-on-Trent, and London Overground is disrupted between Stratford and Highbury and Islington. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
This is your chance to win a motorhome and cash in our biggest giveaway to date. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be the proud owner of this 2025 Benamar Primero. It comfortably accommodates 4 people and can be driven on your standard driving licence. Plus, you'll also bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like. Make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
I think for far too long in this country, millions of people felt as though they weren't represented at all by the establishment media.
GB News was needed because there literally was no other voice. Everyone was saying the same thing.
GB News exists because there is a desperate need for fearless journalism that puts the people first.
GB News came on the scene as a disruptor, and it has always been a disruptor ever since.
The mainstream is all about keeping the status quo as it is, ticking along quite nicely. They don't want to ask difficult questions.
But journalism is journalism at the end of the day, and we're not here to serve any masters. Our masters are our audience.
Charlie Peters, he gave a voice to the victims of grooming gangs, and now, of course, it's led to a national inquiry.
GB News exists to make sure those concerns are put forward and people feel as though what they want to ask is put to those in power.
We don't take orders from anyone. We ask the questions our viewers and listeners want answering.
I know what's actually being discussed by my family and my friends. Us ordinary, hard-working British people have had enough. We've had enough.
They're fed up with the same old establishment nonsense. Everything that we do is opening up conversations that others are afraid to go at.
Why are you illegally bringing people into Britain?
That is our job. Our job is to get to the truth.
If it's important to you watching or listening at home, then it's important to us as well.
That's what makes us the fearless champion of Britain.
Hello there. Nigel Farage faces backlash on his migration policy announcements yesterday.
Yeah, Reform UK revealed plans to abolish indefinite leave to remain, and it's been described by charities as an unworkable stunt based on dodgy maths.
We will not only say that these people do not qualify for indefinite leave to remain, we will abolish indefinite leave to remain as a category in this country.
As Britain grapples with immigration, can Nigel Farage's bold vision hold up?
Hot water for the Duchess of York. 7 charities drop Sarah Ferguson over emails to convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, Prince Andrew's ex-wife pledged never to contact Jeffrey Epstein again, but after it emerged she secretly emailed him just weeks later, describing him as her supreme friend. Charities have now cut ties.
The meteoric rise in autism is among the most alarming public health developments in history. There's never been anything like this.
Donald Trump claims the use of paracetamol in pregnancy is linked to a major increase in autism. But what do the scientists say?
And the Scottish Government has announced £100,000 is going to be given to councils to control seagulls. So this comes ahead of a summit in Inverness to look at the impact of the birds.
With seagulls becoming ever more boisterous in Scotland, coastal towns have had enough. The Scottish Government is having its summit on seagulls later today, but we'll be asking whether it's going to do enough for these these communities who have just had enough of these seagulls.
Yeah, calls to bring back bungalows. Research suggests that many over 55s would like to buy one in their next property move.
And could beaches be a thing of the past? There's a new holiday travel trend coming in for this autumn. Hayley Sparks here in the studio to tell you more about it.
And in sport, England manager Serena Wiegman, goalkeeper Hannah Hampton and Arsenal's women's team all won at the Ballon d'Or ceremony in Paris last night. The main award going to PSG's Ousmane Dembele. Christian Horner leaves Red Bull with around £80 million in his back pocket, and the heat ramps up for this weekend's Ryder Cup.
Hello there, good morning. Another chilly start with some mist and fog in places, but otherwise plenty of sunshine. Stay tuned and I'll have all the details.
It's a Tuesday morning. A very good morning to you. Good to have you on board, whether you're watching on television or listening on radio. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Penny Smith, and this is GB News Breakfast.
We're going to start this hour by speaking to a very busy man, and that is the Conservative Party Chairman, Kevin Hollinrigg. Kevin, good morning to you. And I say busy, Kevin, because... Hiya. Yeah, I'm saying busy, Kevin, because yesterday it was... a letter to the Electoral Commission from your party, and today you're writing to the Parliamentary Standards Commissioner, both of these about the Prime Minister. Could you just explain to people, Kevin, why you're getting so hot under the collar about this?
Well, this is another emerging scandal from Labour. These are hundreds of thousands of pounds, but £740,000 that was raised from donors by this organisation called Labour Together, which has clear links with the Labour Party. These were misdeclared. They weren't declared, and they weren't declared for the reason that were deliberately covered up because the Labour Party didn't want the source of those donations to be revealed. And these donations also were given to the Prime Minister himself, and he didn't declare them to Parliament, which is a clear breach of the rules. So both we want the Electoral Commission to investigate what's happened here, because it was a cover-up of those donations, a clear cover-up, and we want the Parliamentary Standards Commissioner to investigate, because we think that Keir Starmer himself may have broken the rules on donations, the declaration of donations, which is a very, very serious offence.
In what way, Kevin, in what way do you think that the whole situation has been abused by the Labour Party?
Well, they didn't declare the donations. They were fined a couple of years ago for that, but they said it was an admin error. They didn't mean not to declare them. That was the excuse they gave to the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission then fined them £14,000. This is Morgan McSweeney, Keir Starmer's Chief of Staff. But then it emerged, we have access to an email between Morgan McSweeney and Labour Together's lawyers and the lawyers themselves saying that they did it because it was a cover-up, because they didn't want to declare the donations. It's a huge issue for Labour. To lie like that to the Electoral Commission is outrageous, and then not to declare those donations, the Prime Minister himself not declaring those donations to Parliament, as other parliamentarians have done from Labour, Rachel Reeves, Lucy Powell, all declared their donations from Labour Together. Keir Starmer did not. That is absolutely wrong and must be investigated.
Itself has said today that the Commission thoroughly investigated the late reporting of donations by Labour Together and published our findings back in 2021. We were satisfied that the evidence proved beyond reasonable doubt that failures by the association occurred without reasonable excuse. Offences were determined and they were sanctioned accordingly.
Yeah. Exactly. So they seem to have been satisfied with this. There was an investigation and it's been sorted.
No, you're missing that vital piece of evidence that we've just received, which is an email from Labour Together's lawyers. they were sent to Labour together saying we best put this down as an admin error, which is what the Electoral Commission accepted as the reason behind the failure to declare the donations. What is clear from that email, and people can see the contents of that email if they go on my Twitter profile, they can see the letter I wrote to the Electoral Commission and indeed to the Standards Commissioners saying what actually happened. It was a cover-up. They did it deliberately because they did not want to reveal the source of the donations. It was a Jewish donor that was very sensitive at the time. There was a time when Jeremy Corbyn was their leader. Keir Starmer was trying to unseat Jeremy Corbyn, if you remember, and all that was very controversial at the time, and that's why it was concealed. They did not make that clear to the Electoral Commission. We've made that clear to them now. They need to investigate, as does the Parliamentary Standards Commissioner.
Right, can we move on to another story? And this is Nigel Farage grabbing the headlines yet again about immigration. I mean, you know, you must look at this and just think, what is going on? These were supposed to be our clothes. We were supposed to have got a handle on this.
Well, we have got a handle on it, and the reality behind all this is, though we made some mistakes on migration in last Parliament, there's no doubt, one of the things we knew we needed to do is bring forward a deterrent for people coming over the Channel, and that was the Rwanda deterrent, which we finally passed despite being opposed 134 times by Labour and the Liberal Democrats, and then by the courts. We passed all that legislation, Labour then scrapped it. So we absolutely agree and have already put forward our policies on deportation of illegal migrants. In terms of legal migrants, in terms of indefinite leave to remain, our rules we announced back in February are even tougher than reforms. Rules we're saying people shouldn't be able to get indefinite leave to remain for 15 years, effectively. So, and bring forward a cap on legal migration to make sure we can control numbers at the borders, make sure people don't have access to benefits and social housing, all those things if they're going to apply for citizenship. So many of these things we're on a similar page to reform, because reform have copied a lot of our policies. But ours are better thought through. They will stand the test of time.
Aren't they? So you must
if given the chance to effect them.
But they're getting all the headlines, so you must be a bit annoyed about that, a bit miffed.
Well, listen, it's our job to make sure people understand our message. We need to work harder at that. That's part of my job as party chairman. But Kemi Badenoch is doing a fantastic job. She's the strongest leader in this country or any political party. I think she's the right person to lead this country. What this country needs right now is a strong leader, but one who's consistent. And where you see all the backtracking from Nigel Farage about the policies he announces, then he backtracks on them because he makes mistakes on them like he did yesterday. Because he's a one-man band, we've got a very good team of people, including an excellent Shadow Chancellor, who will actually balance the books. And that's what you're going to get from Conservatives, is we'll control the borders, but we'll also live within our means. That's critical, and no other party will do that.
And that is the chairman of the Conservative Party, Kevin Hollinrick. Kevin, thank you for your time this morning. Appreciate it. Leave it there.
Pleasure.
The Duchess of York has now been dropped by 7 different charities. That follows the revelation of emails to paedophile Jeffrey Epstein, in which she called him a supreme friend.
Yes, the emails came just weeks after publicly distancing herself from Epstein. This was back in 2011.
A spokesperson for her said the emails were sent in the context of advice she was given to try and mitigate Epstein and his threats to sue her for defamation. We're now joined by our royal correspondent Cameron Walker on this one. It's a right mess, Cameron, really. How does she get herself, I mean, these high-profile charities that we're talking about, any association with children, she's dropped, distanced from here as well. How does she recover from this? Can she recover?
Well, I think it's going to be incredibly difficult for her to recover. As you said, Eamonn, most of her patronages are charities helping and supporting children, and yet she has been associated with, over the weekend, with the convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. So let's just rewind a little bit here. So 2008, Jeffrey Epstein was convicted of a number of child sexual offences. In 2011, the Duchess of York did an interview where she apologised for accepting £15,000 from Jeffrey Epstein to try and pay off some of her debts. Within that interview, she also said she found paedophilia abhorrent and vowed never to speak to him again. But just a couple of weeks later, she secretly emailed him, apologising for what she said in that meeting media interview and described him as her supreme friend. And that's the email that came out in the Mail on Sunday and the Sun over the weekend. And this is why we're seeing this avalanche of charities cutting ties with her. I was in and out of this studio all afternoon, every half an hour or so, because another charity had cut ties with her. So the ones which have done, we've got Prevent Breast Cancer, which she only has recently become a patron of because of her own experience with the disease. Children's Literacy Charity, Julia's House, which is a children's hospice based in Wiltshire and Dorset. The Food Allergy Charity, for the Natasha Allergy Research Foundation. Teenage Cancer Trust, which she's been patron of for 35 years, so that's going to be a big blow for her. The National Foundation for Retired Service Animals and the British Heart Foundation has dropped her as an ambassador. So it's tricky, isn't it? It's yet another high-profile figure associated with the former, the late paedophile Jeffrey Epstein, and stuck in this scandal.
Yeah. Now she does say that the reason that she did this was because she was given advice to try to assuage Epstein and his threats to sue her for defamation for associating him with paedophilia. Now, the only problem with that comment is that it doesn't really stand up when he'd already been convicted of paedophilia. So he couldn't sue her because of the fact that that was true, and in a court of law it was proved to be true.
Well, Penny, that's the question, isn't it? Because if her spokesperson claims she was given legal advice that she had to apologise to Jeffrey Epstein despite what she said in public, you'd think, well, why? Because, as you say, he was already a convicted paedophile, so what else could there be that would stand up in a court of law, a civil court of law, to prove that she defamed him? So that's a slight issue. The other thing the spokesperson said, although they haven't commented on her being dropped from the charities, is that she stands by her comments made in that media interview in 2011. So something doesn't quite add up. In terms of her getting back into the royal fold, of course, we've seen her at private family events on a number of occasions, most recently the Duchess of Kent's funeral last week. Is the King realistically going to allow her to continue to appear at these private, semi-private public events like Sandringham Christmas Walk, the Easter Sunday service in Windsor, and, of course, private funerals as well? I think it's going to be very tricky for the royal family to know how to navigate this.
Yes, it's just funerals, weddings, frankly, almost anything, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is quite difficult. And also, there's some suggestion that the £15,000 might be quite a small amount compared to what actually she got loaned by Epstein, according to the papers today.
Thanks, Cameron. Nuisance seagulls are back in business and they're in the headlines. The Scottish Government has announced £100,000 to help consuls deal with them ahead of a special summit in Inverness this week.
Yes, this is after reports of children being attacked in the Borders. 7 youngsters injured in just 1 month, some left with cuts to their heads. And actually, it's really scary being dive-bombed by... I mean, they're big. These are big animals, the seagulls,
Councillors say the birds are out of control, but have seagulls really become a serious public menace? Our Scotland reporter, Tony Maguire, joins us now live from Eamonn. Good morning, Toby. Just how big a problem? Are you aware of anything yourself being there?
Yeah, good morning. Well, you know, not long here in Eamonn, and it would seem that the seagulls are having a bit of a lie-in this September. The temperatures are dropping, but it's still fairly smack bang in the activity period for these gulls. Now, here in Eamonn, it's pretty much the herring gull population that has dominated. We've seen other gull numbers drop, and despite that, they are actually a red-listed concern, which is one of the reasons why Nature Scot, the Scottish Government's animal body, has basically withdrawn opportunities to go into their nests and remove eggs. Now, that was a practice to try and limit numbers in previous years, but that now is not possible because of the low numbers. So it's a bit of this conundrum. You have a potentially at-risk species, but the numbers that are out and about in Scotland's coastal communities are causing major havoc. Now, you mentioned there last year 7 children died all with cuts and gashes on their heads, and councillors here have certainly had enough. Now, this summit is taking place about 4 hours north of here in Inverness, much in part because it was pushed forward by a lot of Scotland's MSPs from the north of the country, but nevertheless it is something that every coastal town in Scotland has issues with, and we've seen a number of measures put in place over the last couple of years. We've seen seagull-proof bins, we've even seen some towns have fined for feeding the seagulls like largs over on the west coast of Scotland. But certainly here this morning, the gulls, we can just see them on the rocks just out of shot to my side. They are limbering up, no doubt, for a day of menace. And I think it's safe to say, though, that people in coastal communities are quite fed up with this, because they're being held between a rock and a hard place here. They appreciate that the numbers have low and there's not much that can be done traditionally, as we'd seen, for keeping numbers low. But nevertheless, when kids are in the firing line, it's understandable that tensions are pretty high on the issue.
Leave it there. Thank you very much indeed. Stay safe, my friend. And we're talking about coastal towns, but of course they're not just affecting coastal towns, they're coming more and more into towns.
Yeah, well, of course, it's all. I mean, it's like, as usual, there are so many other complicating factors. For example,
we contribute because we leave waste out. We leave
waste out. We eat their fish,
yeah,
etc.
Yeah, there's all sorts of things.
There's all sorts.
But there are too many of them. It becomes too easy for them to breed, and we cull deer and things. Why can't we cull seagulls? The last time I had a altercation with one, I went to the Isle of Wight. And I bumped into you.
You did, indeed.
As it turned out, we had an ice cream.
We had an ice cream together.
Yes.
I mean, we didn't share the ice cream. That would be ridiculous. No. We had one each. We could.
But before the seagulls could get to us, we were able to enjoy that. But they were quite prominent.
They are, and I mentioned how big they are. I mean, there's this great black-backed gull that you occasionally see sort of in that area. And they are, I mean, they're enormous animals. I think they're the biggest, I think they might even be the biggest bird that we have.
Yeah.
I mean, apart from, I don't think they're even bigger than, I mean, they're enormous
Eagles.
things. I was going to say buzzards. I was just going to say they are really big animals. If you get up close, they're the size of a small dog.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what do you think should be done about seagulls? I know a lot of people are quite frightened by them, and they're at their wits' end. So let us know what you think the solution is, or should we just leave them alone? Honor Criswick with the weather picture.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's set to be another chilly start this morning, but it should be mostly dry, plenty of sunny spells, just feeling that little bit cooler as we head our way further into autumn. Now, there will be some showers around coast of East Anglia, parts of Sussex and Kent. Could see a fair few showers. These could be moderate to heavy. Also across the Northern Isles, there could be some showers here, but for the bulk of the country, mostly dry, a mix of cloud and also some sunny spells, fairly similar to what we saw yesterday afternoon, and temperatures are around about average for the time of year, highs reaching around 17 to 18 degrees Celsius, but around the mid-teens across many northern areas. Later into the evening, some showers could linger around for the time in fairly similar spots. So around coast of East Anglia, Sussex and Kent could still see some showers. Across much of England and Wales, though, it should be a mostly dry end to the day. Once again, a mix of cloud and also some clearer skies. Similar across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England and also Scotland. It should be a mostly dry end to the day, but still some showers just lingering across the very far northeast of Scotland. Now, through the overnight period, we have a mixture of clear skies and also light winds, so that does lead us into a risk of mist and fog, particularly as we head our way towards dawn. And once again, it is going to turn chilly under those clear spells, so a risk of frost as we head our way towards dawn once again, and still some lingering showers across the very far southeast. Most towns and cities dropping to around 5 to 6 degrees Celsius, particularly across the north, but in any rural spots, particularly under those clearer spells, it's likely will drop below freezing once again. So Wednesday morning, another fairly chilly start, any mist and fog clearing away quite readily. Still a chance of some showers across the far southeast, across central and eastern parts of England too, though they should be mostly isolated. So once again, another dry day, a mix of cloud and sunny spells and fairly similar temperatures to what we'll see this afternoon, highs reaching around 18 to 19 degrees Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
It is time for the Great British Giveaway now. Still lots of time for you to become our biggest winner to date. Here are all the details.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British Giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Still to come, could beaches be a thing of the past? There is a new holiday travel trend this autumn, and Hayley Sparks is going to be telling us more next.
Five hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very racy tonight. On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11 only on GB News.
What do you think is the origin of this palace not being loved by the royal family as a place to live?
Well, you see, it's a little bit like an Edwardian hotel in Brighton. It's all long corridors and rooms off them. It's not very friendly as a place, you know. So the Queen and Prince Philip occupied the rooms along the Constitution Hill side. She had half of them and he had the other half. And if ever they came out into a corridor, you know, so it's just not very friendly. And of course, the other thing is that the gardens are now terribly overlooked by the Hilton and other big buildings, whereas the King living at Clarence House, he has a very nice garden there and it's not overlooked at all. I mean, I have seen Prince Philip's rooms because I worked with his office a lot and I did a book about his mother, so I was there quite often. I haven't seen the Queen's rooms, but I'd love to see them.
Yes. And at the beginning of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, the palace was not open to the public at all, was it?
No, it wasn't. And actually, she didn't want to go and live there either. She was living in Clarence House, but Churchill said that it was sovereign's residence and she had to move in. He forced her to move in. That was quite tricky because the Queen Mother and Princess Margaret were still living there at the beginning. And then they moved into Clarence House a little while later, somewhat before the coronation. The only reason that the palace was open as a public tourist attraction was to make money to pay for the fire damage of 1992 at Windsor Castle. And that was so successful that the opening has gone on ever since, and it raises money for the Royal Collection Trust in order to look after all the treasures which are held by the sovereign for the nation.
GB News, the People's Channel.
GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
So here we are, we're into autumn.
Definitely.
It's officially, this week was the official start of autumn, so it was.
It is.
And sometimes people like a bit of a break in autumn, which is quite popular, but not to beach trips anymore because there's a new holiday trend.
There is. Experts say that it is time to swap the crowded seaside resorts for something called forest bathing. And autumn is the perfect time to go and
forest bathing. Well, it sounds so very good. So here's our special GB News travel correspondent, Hayley Sparks, bathing in autumn. And how do you marry all this together? Tell us what sort of holiday we're talking about here, Hayley.
Yes, well, this is a term that originates from Japan, so forest bathing, and it's now really, really popular over here. So it's all about immersing yourself in nature, and we have so many beautiful forests to choose from in the UK, and there's a lot of scientific studies that show that being out in the forest, being out in nature can help you with better sleep, stress reduction, enhance your mood, mental clarity. It's something you can do by yourself, with your family. I think it's about slowing down and just...
I was going to say, because you can go and walk in these places, but they're saying bathing in it is I mean, I'm not, nobody's suggesting you strip down to your shreddies and just sort of sit there, lie there on your beach towel. But what it is about taking the time and then just maybe closing your eyes and just soaking up the atmosphere. Is there lots more ozone in a forest and a wood? I don't know.
Yeah, well, you've got obviously all the beautiful trees, you've got plants, you've got squirrels, you've got nature that you can really look at. So it is about slowing down, breathing, smelling, like using all your senses, and maybe also doing activities as well, encouraging you on your holidays.
I like a lot of what you're saying, and autumn is my favourite time of the year, and I love the idea of, that sort of golden sunshine and the red leaves and all that sort of thing. But what if the weather's lousy? What if it's awful? Yes. What if it's raining? Does that scupper your plans?
Well, I would say when you're in these forest areas, you do have that natural canopy of the leaves, so the weather, the rain is never quite as harsh because you've kind of, even if it's windy, you're a little bit more enclosed within the trees. So I think it's a great one for all year round. Always with UK breaks, whatever time of year, I always think you have to have options, you have to have layers, and you have to be prepared for
no
the weather.
Such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing.
I agree.
As everybody's mum has probably said at some stage, and that's the point. I mean, some of my favourite walks have been when I've come back and I'm just actually so wet and soggy and my wellies are splattered in mud, and I've just had a really good time. I know, look at you, just going, what on earth is she wrong with her? There she is.
No, I like the whole idea of, blazing fire and a nice log cabin and all that sort of thing. And there are options, are there?
There are
choice.
Different options, from budget-friendly to luxury, tree houses, lodges, cabins. There's something for everybody. So if you want to immerse yourself in the woodland environment, then there's some great autumn breaks out there.
I love the idea of a tree house.
Thank you, Hayley. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Exactly 3, 2, 1, 0, exactly 8:30. And breaking news this morning. Britain's largest car manufacturer, which is Jaguar Land Rover, faces factory closures after that cyber attack was extended to the 1st of October.
Yeah, more than 300,000 people work directly for JLR in the UK, and this extension is going to cost the company tens of millions of pounds a day in lost revenue.
A spokesperson has said, we've made this decision to give clarity for the coming week as we build a timeline for the phased restart of our operations and continue our investigation into this.
Yeah, that's a terrible situation. We're going to go live now to the Lib Dem conference, where Liberal Democrat Foreign Affairs spokesperson Callum Miller joins us. How's it going? Morning.
Thanks, Penny. Good morning. It's going well. It's beautifully sunny here in Bournemouth, and I think the sunshine reflects a really optimistic mood amongst Liberal Democrat members and participants in our conference.
Yeah, the headlines, though, in the papers today, not huge number of headlines, actually, about the Liberal Democrats, not that I could find. Maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. One of them, though, this is in the Times, suggesting that Ed Davey is making a fundamental mistake to actually target the Tories. They're saying that they should actually target Labour voters instead.
I think what we've seen at this conference is that we put forward policies that will attract people across the political spectrum, whether that's the proposal that we should be reopening police front desks so that people in every community up and down the country can report crime, or whether that's the proposal to tax the big banks with a windfall tax so that we can help to bring down the energy costs that every household is facing. We want to attract people from across the political spectrum because we believe that people want change, and Liberal Democrats are offering a very positive vision of how we can achieve that change with an optimistic view of what is possible for our brilliant country.
You see, you must be just annoyed, though, that the headlines are being grabbed by Nigel Farage instead.
Look, we know how the Reform leader likes to work. We see these big announcements on a Monday. Sometimes they manage to make it until tea time, sometimes they don't. They tend to unravel, as we saw with Monday's announcements. And that's just the way that they work. But as Liberal Democrats, what we are doing is we're focusing on serious policies that have a serious basis and that can really transform and make a difference to people's lives. And what we know is that where there are Liberal Democrat MPs or councillors representing their communities and working hard for them up and down the country, that is winning people's trust and winning their support, and we will just keep doing that.
Most people would just prefer to have more money in their pockets and not pay quite so much tax. You're going to be talking about that?
Well, as I said, one of our proposals this weekend has been that the big banks, who have much broader shoulders than most households and have the ability to make a bigger contribution to our economy than this Labour government has asked of them, should be making that contribution, and that through that we would create a fund that would help to reduce the cost of energy for everyone's household and at the same time allow them to insulate and bring down the cost of energy within their homes. So that's the kind of practical proposal that we are putting forward, focused on what people tell us that they care about, which is tackling the terrible cost of living crisis.
Just wondering, actually, you're in Bournemouth. We did a story earlier on about seagulls in Scotland, certain areas in Scotland, and what a problem they are. A problem noticed in Bournemouth?
Well, obviously, I've been here for 3 days, and I would say my experience so far has been that the seagulls haven't been troubling us too badly. So I can't give you a scientific answer to that, but anecdotally, we've been lucky not to be plagued by seagulls during our conference.
Yeah.
I'll give you a scientific answer. Don't walk down the promenade with your fish and chips in your hand.
Good point.
That's kind, Eamonn, and I'll also see if any of them will give me a lucky deposit before I give my speech. How's about that?
Yes. What is it with that? It was just one of those things, wasn't it? Callum, thank you very much. Callum Miller, Liberal Democrat Foreign Affairs spokesperson. What is it about the lucky seagull? I mean, it isn't lucky. It's just really unpleasant if it leaves a deposit anywhere. Head, shoulders, anywhere.
And they're
Very
usually
unpleasant.
big deposits as well.
Very big deposits, yes, exactly.
Now, if you're out and about, if you're travelling to work or school, here is your traffic and travel update.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. An accident on the M4 eastbound between junctions 13 and 12 has caused lane closures and delays. On the A720 eastbound, expect slower journeys due to a broken down vehicle between Strayton and Gilmerton. On the M25 anti-clockwise between junctions 9 and 8, a car incident is causing an hour's delay with one lane closed. In Surrey, the A5 southbound is congested between the A51 and M42 junction, resulting in substantial delays. And on the trains, London North Western Railway has halted services between Crewe and Stafford, impacting routes via Stoke-on-Trent. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
TV today
TV. Oh.
TV. This is Eric Idle talking about this. He says, television now seems to be about people trying to bonk each other on islands. Right, or on game shows or news shows. So that's about how he sums it up. He's not far wrong, really, is he?
Well, I can only think of Love Island. What else is there?
Davina's doing one on BBC as well.
What, on an island?
Yeah, and there's what's that other one? Marriage UK.
Marriage at First Sight.
And they have a UK version of that which has just started, and that's all it is.
Yeah, well,
if they're not bonking, it's, you know...
Something else. That's such a lovely 70s word, isn't it? I think we're sort of... there's probably lots of people thinking, what does that actually mean? Let's just not go there. Right. Still to come, Donald Trump says paracetamol use in pregnancy is linked to an increased risk of autism. What have the scientists said? More on that coming up.
Yeah, David Wooding, Anna Firth, who got them. They're reviewing the papers. Hi, guys, right after this. Don't go away.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
We've got before us the stories that are in the papers today that are getting our guests talking, and those guests are David Wooding and Anna Firth. Very lovely to see you both. But Penny, you were saying, I mean, this story we're going to start with, and we're going to get David's opinion on it, but it's about fat jabs. And you're convinced that people, as this story says, share their fat jab needles.
Yes, I think there's absolutely. If you are on these drugs and they are working for you, I really do think that you would just go, yeah, they're family. You know, you just do though, don't you? No, we are not. No, you and I might not, but we are not the people who are being actually talked about in this. But
not in 1,000 years would I think of sharing a needle with anybody.
No, I'm not saying I would. I'm saying that.
But I can't even envisage anybody who would do it.
No, because
they're saying that it is.
Well, David, what do you make of this?
Well, this story in the Daily Star, it suggests that 2 out of 5 people who use fat jabs buy them online.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a risk there in what they're buying.
First
you know,
time, yeah.
is it genuine Wegovy or Mounjaro? And there's something like 10 million people are now taking them. And as a result, people are saying, well, it's quite expensive.
Yeah.
Let's share them. I haven't been in Westminster for 3 years now since I moved jobs, but I went back there for a reception recently, and there were lots of people I knew who were coming up to me saying, "Hello, David, how are you? I haven't seen you in ages." And I didn't know who they were because they'd all shed so much weight. And they were suddenly, when I heard someone say their name, I thought, you went like this 3 years ago, men and women, and they just shed so much weight. So people who could afford it are doing it. The problem is we saw... Nadine Dorries was saying that she did you read this column she did in the Mail last week? She had some problem in her throat, and it was heartburn. She thought it was heartburn, and it's the acids from not eating enough, and now she's got a pre-cancerous issue in the esophagus, and she has to go back for tests. So
that's
it's
actually
not
a
without
serious
risk.
warning, isn't
You
it?
need
There are
the
side effects.
You need the doctors to
let alone sharing the needles. There
Now,
are
when
side
I say
effects.
sharing the needles, is it not that they're sharing the
content,
the content,
yes,
as opposed to the
exactly, yes.
I mean, not sharing the needles like.
It says needle sharers here.
No, but I think they're sharing. They come and then they're sharing them with their friends and family because they're saying let's all pool together. Is that right?
That's right. That's it. Yeah.
I can't believe this story. I really can't.
I'd rather stop eating.
And well, absolutely, and do some. And that lovely story you had, the person who was talking about getting out in nature and going for a walk. You know, that's the way to naturally control your appetite.
I know, but you know what? These are people who often have had real problems trying to shift weight, and the thing is, you know, once you've gone down the sort of cycle of you lose weight, it's really hard work. You manage to lose the stone, go whoopee, and then immediately almost you start eating a bit more normally, then weight goes back on. It is depressing. Yo-yo dieting is hugely depressing. This is successful and it's exciting.
What's depressing to me today is to read, the Telegraph has this in its front page today about an attack on pensioners from the Chancellor. Well, she's been told by experts to mount a £6 billion tax raid on pensioners.
So I'm absolutely spitting mad about this one because this is the most inept Chancellor in my lifetime who started off by going for our pensioners, remember? 18 months ago, the very first thing that this Chancellor
and then
did
had to back off, didn't she?
Well, no. She took away their winter fuel allowance.
Oh, the winter fuel allowance.
You know, hundreds of pounds taken from them, and now she's coming for pensioners again. It's totally unacceptable. And why is she doing it? She's doing it to fill the black hole that she has created in our finances with her £28 billion of extra spending because they were supposed to shrink the welfare budget. We know the welfare budget needs to be shrunk. They could not get it through Parliament. Now she's making pensioners pay, and it's absolutely not on.
Well, I'm sure she would say that she's having to do this because of the state that the.
Well, don't do it on pensioners. That's the point. I mean, people who've worked all their lives and saved up and.
No. I'm just saying about this black hole. I'm just saying, you know, the problem.
As I always say about politicians, don't tell me how to get money, which is the only answer you have is tax. Create money. How are you going to create? At least if they come out and said we're going to frack, and you may not agree with it, but at least we'd have an argument to go on.
But that's the problem. Yeah, Absolutely, because she's put these taxes
Yeah.
on employers' national insurance. Every business I speak to says that rather than growing, taking
they're
on new
shrinking.
people, they're shrinking.
Well, we're not politicians, and yet, as you say, people you speak to. I mean, you know, in Belfast, my son works in the food industry as well, and you cannot make money in food. You cannot hire staff. You cannot run a pub. You cannot do all sorts of things, and they must live in the real world, politicians, and hear this as well.
Well, it's also, of course, they can't make money in food industries as well because everybody's on the fat jabs and nobody's eating.
But this is completely cynical. Pensioners, on the whole, do not vote Labour. They don't vote for them, therefore they're punishing them. I'm afraid I think this is completely cynical.
Okay.
And it's appalling.
Right, hold that thought, and we're going to be back with more right after this. Don't go away.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean all clear skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Parts of Europe could see some heavy rain and some thundery downpours as we head our way into Wednesday. Mostly dry and settled across Greece, plenty of sunshine here, but through Italy, around the Adriatic coastline, also southern parts of France and Switzerland could see some heavy thundery downpours, a risk of large hail and also some strong gusty winds. Across Spain and Portugal, though, largely settled, plenty of sunshine, fairly similar across the Canary Islands too. A mostly settled end to the week with a chance of more showers heading into the weekend and temperatures in the mid-20s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
And with a dynastic touch, George Martin's son, Giles Martin, is involved in all of this.
Yes, so he's the keeper of his father's flame, really, which is very touching.
It's very, very touching. How can it be? I mean, we've been talking about a band here that was playing before we were able to send pictures across the Atlantic. How can a band that is that old cause such excitement today?
Well, it's such a number of elements. They encapsulated so much of the early 20th century music. They, Fats Domino, Chuck Berry, Little Richard, Tim Panally through Paul McCartney's father. He grew up hearing his father playing the piano. He had a big jazz band. They played around Liverpool. So all of that music went into the Beatles' crucible. And I find it so interesting that you know, Decca get ribbed for turning them down. But those early sessions are not showing them at their best. And they say guitar bands are on their way out, but actually it took the Beatles to bring them back and show everybody a completely different scene, a completely different imagination of what guitar music can be. It took the Beatles 3 albums to really get into their stride, because their first 2, let's not forget, were sort of covers in a way. So there's a few of their own songs in there.
Yeah,
but
a lot of covers.
But with Hard Day's Night, it's all their own tracks. And they... What can I say? The energy of them, the invention of them, when you watch Get Back, you see how much craftsmanship they put into constructing a completely unique song. That's the thing about the Beatles. Each song is so unique. There's no replication in any of their output.
GB News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
David and Anna are with us in the studio to talk about the stories making the news in the papers today. David, let me ask you, are you worried about dementia?
Yes, I mean, I think most of us are these days. I mean, even when you get over the age of 50, it's there, looming in the distance. And you read a lot about it. As I know people who've suffered it or had parents who've suffered it, and they say it's like losing a loved one twice, because you lose them to dementia and then they die. And you know, some great people have suffered it. Sports people and politicians and really great people. And
well,
they died not knowing what they'd
headline,
achieved.
Anna, is we must make dementia an NHS priority. This is front page of the Express, and I would have thought it was a priority. I'm shocked to find out it isn't.
Well, I think it is a priority. I paid special attention to this myself because my grandma died of Alzheimer's and my father had dementia, although it didn't finally kill him. So I always alight on these stories. But this is a hopeful story, because what this is saying is that there are new drugs available that will delay the onset of dementia, but...
Delay the onset or slow it down?
Slow it down. Thank you. Slow it down, Penny. But that there's quite a narrow window in which these drugs will work, and therefore we've got to diagnose people earlier so that they can have the benefit of these treatments. So this is actually quite a hopeful story, that there is hope for people as long as you get the diagnosis in time.
I just look at that and I go, has anybody tried to get an appointment with the doctor for a start off, and then, you know, have they got time to actually do the tests and then until we've got a cure, it is quite difficult, because as soon as you get the diagnosis, then for an awful lot of people you're talking about serious depression, because you know we know what's coming along down the road.
Yeah, no, I remember when my father got a diagnosis and he was given a book, How to Cope with Dementia. He walked out with his wife and just tore the book up and said, we're carrying on as we are.
David, the couple of minutes that's left to us, we've got some pictures in the papers today about pumpkins and how it is predicted to be a monster year for monster pumpkins.
Yes, well, according to the Daily Star, Halloween will be one of the best on record because pumpkins are going to be great. It's all to do with the...
Look at that one!
Look at that. Wow.
My goodness, that is such a... What a heavenly object.
That's a freak of nature, surely.
So where has that been grown?
Isn't it a jaunty orange?
Where has that been grown?
Where is that? I don't know, but it's obviously an award-winning pumpkin. There's also other pictures in some of the papers with children virtually sheltering with monster pumpkins.
But surely a pumpkin is not indigenous to this country. I mean, I don't know, but I never remember pumpkins as a kid. Never. We had turnips for Halloween.
Yeah, it's part of that same family, is it not? The squash family?
It's like a squash family.
Yeah.
It's an American thing.
I like pumpkin soup.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And now you can even in a Starbucks, Halloween, you get all these pumpkin coffees. I'm not sure about those.
You're
but
right.
I like the soup.
Eamon is right. Pumpkins are not indigenous. They are native to North America. Yeah. But can I just say, they're not indigenous, but just like horse chestnuts or conker trees, brought over in the 16th century, cultivated in Tudor England. So although they've come over from America, they're about as, you know, lots of people would say horse chestnut trees, pumpkins.
I've known Penny for many, many years, and the thing Penny does is eat orange things.
I do.
Like carrots and whatever. And it sends her this lovely shade of brown that she's got here. And so I reckon pumpkins are very good for her.
Do you know what? I think I've been overdoing the carrots again. Look at the colour of those lines. Oops. I have to back off on those. Eat an apple.
David, thank you very much indeed. Very good having you here. Thank you very much. And Anna, appreciate everything this morning. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, time for an update now on your weather. Brilliant.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's set to be another chilly start this morning, but it should be mostly dry. Plenty of sunny spells, just feeling that little bit cooler as we head our way further into autumn. Now, there will be some showers around coast of East Anglia, parts of Sussex and Kent. Could see a fair few showers. These could be moderate to heavy. Also across the Northern Isles, there could be some showers here, but for the bulk of the country, mostly dry, a mix of cloud and also some sunny spells, fairly similar to what we saw yesterday afternoon, and temperatures are around about average for the time of year, highs reaching around 17 to 18 degrees Celsius, but around the mid-teens across many northern areas. Later into the evening, some showers could linger around for the time in fairly similar spots. So around coast of East Anglia, Sussex and Kent could still see some showers. Across much of England and Wales, though, it should be a mostly dry end to the day. Once again, a mix of cloud and also some clearer skies. Similar across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England and also Scotland. It should be a mostly dry end to the day, but still some showers just lingering across the very far northeast of Scotland. Now, through the overnight period, we have a mixture of clear skies and also light winds, so that does lead us into a risk of mist and fog, particularly as we head our way towards dawn. And once again, it is going to turn chilly under those clear spells, so a risk of frost as we head our way towards dawn once again, and still some lingering showers across the very far southeast. Most towns and cities dropping to around 5 to 6 degrees Celsius, particularly across the north, but in any rural spots, particularly under those clearer spells, it's likely will drop below freezing once again. So Wednesday morning, another fairly chilly start, any mist and fog clearing away quite readily. Still a chance of some showers across the far southeast, across central and eastern parts of England too, though they should be mostly isolated. So once again, another dry day, a mix of cloud and sunny spells and fairly similar temperatures to what we'll see this afternoon, highs reaching around 18 to 19 degrees Celsius.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. A broken down vehicle is partially blocking the M90 southbound between Admiralty and Ferrytoll, causing congestion, so please approach with caution and expect significant delays. Additionally, on the M25 anti-clockwise, an accident between junctions 9 and 8 has resulted in the closure of one lane. Expect considerably longer travel times due to this obstruction. On the railways, cross-country service disruptions are affecting routes between Worcestershire Parkway and Birmingham New Street, while London North Western Railway reports a complete halt of services between Crewe and Stafford via Stoke-on-Trent. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Good morning. Nigel Farage faces a backlash on his migration policy announcement.
Reform UK revealed plans to abolish indefinite leave to remain, as it's termed, and it's been described by charities as an unworkable stunt based on dodgy maths.
We will not only say
that these people do not qualify for indefinite leave to remain, we will abolish indefinite leave to remain as a category in this country.
As Britain grapples with immigration, can Nigel Farage's bold vision hold up under scrutiny?
A fierce reaction to what Nigel Farage says here in Bournemouth at the Lib Dem conference, when Ed Davey, the party's leader, will turn his fire on Reform UK in his big speech later today.
Hot water for the Duchess of York. She's in it well and truly. 7 charities have dropped Sarah Ferguson over emails to paedophile Jeffrey Epstein.
Prince Andrew's ex-wife vowed never to see Jeffrey Epstein, the convicted paedophile, again, but after it emerged she emailed him just weeks after making that promise. Charities are cutting ties.
The meteoric rise in autism is among the most alarming public health developments in history. There's never been anything like this.
The President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, claims the use of paracetamol in pregnancy is linked to a major increase in autism. But what do the scientists say?
Scottish Government has announced £100,000 will be given to consuls to control seagulls. It comes ahead of a summit in Inverness to look at the impact of the birds.
And there are calls to bring back bungalows, research suggesting that many over 55s would like to buy one in their next property move.
And could beaches be a thing of the past? There's a new holiday travel trend this autumn, and Hayley Sparks has told us more about that.
Hello there, good morning. Another chilly start with some mist and fog in places, but otherwise plenty of sunshine. Stay tuned and I'll have all the details.
Hello there, very good morning to you on this Tuesday morning. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Penny Smith and this is GB News Breakfast.
This half hour of the programme, delighted to talk to the Minister of State for Housing and Planning, Matthew Pennycook. Matthew, you've got so many big announcements, so many plans to talk about. But I want to go to one, Matthew, that's in the papers today, just looking for an initial reaction from you. Builders being urged to build bungalows, more and more bungalows, because demand is soaring. Now, 20 years ago, apparently, we built 11% of new housing was bungalows. Now it's down to 1%. And I'm speaking with a vested interest in this because I'm wheelchair bound at the moment. And as you get older, I tell you, Matthew, you then realise bungalows are the future.
And I think it speaks to a much wider point and a really important point, which is the housing and planning system hasn't really kept pace with demographic change in our country over many decades. And we absolutely need to build more homes that are the appropriate homes for older people, also people who have accessibility issues. We've got to look at all those options. Interestingly, we had a report from the Older People's Housing Task Force, a series of recommendations. But in general terms, our policy is that we want to see greater choice and provision for older people. That might include bungalows, but it also includes other products like shared ownership products directly targeted at older people, because in that way we'll not only provide the homes that they need in particular parts of the country, but will unlock the chain of houses down the line, which can mean that, you know, for example, bigger family homes that are no longer appropriate for an older person, say, living alone, can be used and can be taken up by families.
Yeah, I suppose the problem is, though, that whenever we talk about building new homes, what people don't like is when new homes are built on the edge of very small little villages all over green fields that we like to look at, and they point all the time to places where you could actually, you know, they're called brownfield sites, or sort of, you know, old factories, things that builders don't want to be dealing with, because of course they have to dismantle something before building up. So you get, so it is very difficult, isn't it? I mean, the other thing is you could say build up, don't build out.
Well, I think we've got to do all of these things, and we've got to build on greenbelt land, which is why through our changes to the national planning policy in December last year, we introduced a new modern strategic approach to greenbelt land release and development across the country. On brownfield in particular, you're absolutely right. Our government has a brownfield first approach to development, i.e. this should always be the first point of call. We've made it easier to build on brownfield land. We're going to take things further. We're pulling every lever to get Britain building. So we're going to build on the changes we've already made by introducing new national policies for decision making, which we'll consult on later this year, which will mean that on brownfield land, and in particular, the default answer to appropriate proposals is yes, you should have an easy journey through the planning system. But we've got to do all that, and we've got to build big as well, which is why we set up an independent new towns task force to come forward with recommendations for large-scale new communities across the country. And if we have those sort of interventions, if we plan better on a sub-regional basis, where local authorities can come together as per the measures in our planning and infrastructure bill, which is in the House of Lords right now, they can agree on what are the best locations for large-scale housing growth, rather than, as you say, each and every local authority being forced to meet its housing targets by development that might, in some instances, not be appropriate for smaller conurbations for villages.
You've a big task, though, Matthew, and you've got big dreams. Tell us, I mean, it's an infrastructure. We're not just talking about housing projects and whatever. You're talking about a whole infrastructure for the country. Can you give us some sort of indication, the sort of projects you're looking for?
Well, as you know, Eamonn, in our plan for change, we committed to getting Britain building again. Housing, but also infrastructure, by fast-tracking planning decisions on major economic infrastructure projects. And we've honoured that commitment. In our first year in office, we've taken more decisions than any first year in any parliament in history. We made 21 decisions. It's 25 now post-Gatwick. And this isn't just a procedural planning point, a dry point. It has real-world consequences for working people across the country, because a failure to build enough essential infrastructure of the kind we're talking about projects like Gatwick, like the Lower Thames crossing, like new reservoirs. That failure has meant for working people across the country longer commutes, more expensive flights, unreliable water infrastructure, and we've got to change all that. That's what we're doing by making timely and decisive decisions on these major projects, and by getting the system working more generally, so that we're taking over the course of the Parliament our target of 150 such decisions, not, for example, the 57 that the previous government took over its whole lifetime. That's how we'll get Britain building, and we're making the changes, again, not least in the planning and infrastructure bill, to ensure that the consenting process for these projects is faster, is more certain for applicants, and that we can make those decisions as a government in a more timely way.
Yeah, see, I just know that the environmental backlash will certainly come along the line, won't it, though? Because particularly as soon as you talk about building on greenfields, as soon as you talk about airports. You know, airports and the environmental issues there, every single thing, all I can hear are red flags being raised.
Well, I mean, I just address in terms of those decisions, the 21 decisions that we made in our first year, the 25 we've made since coming into office. They're decisions that have been made. Those schemes have been approved. Now, obviously, it's right that people can challenge the lawfulness of those decisions, but again, through our planning and infrastructure bill, which is in the House of Lords, which we want to see on the statute book before the end of the year, we're making changes to how many judicial review attempts that people can make, particularly in meritless cases. They can only have, once that bill's in place, one judicial review attempt. We think that's right. We've got to streamline the process around judicial review. We've got to have a more strategic and sensible approach to both development and the environment. Again, there are provisions in the bill that make sure we can get that win-win, because we do want it to be a win-win. We want to build homes and infrastructure in a way that sustains the environmental protections that are in place, but we need a more sensible approach, and that's what the legislation we're taking through will achieve.
Are you excited about this, Matthew?
I am excited because I think many of your listeners will feel as I do. There is a sense, and has been a sense over recent years, that we just can't get big things done anymore, that we can't build the infrastructure we need, that nothing works, and we're going to prove as a government that it can be made to work, the system can work, we can get these timely decisions, and we can get the essential infrastructure in place across the country we need in a way that benefits working people, whether that's shorter commutes, cheaper air flights, better water infrastructure provision, and the direct jobs that come with those projects and the wider supply chain.
Good talking to you, Matthew Cook, and good luck to you. Thank you very much indeed for speaking to us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right, joining us now, GB News political editor Christopher Hope. Hello, Christopher. Hello.
Hi,
in
Penny.
Bournemouth.
Hi, Eamonn. Yeah, welcome to gorgeously sunny Bournemouth. Yeah, it's gorgeous here. I mean, great to hear the government's trying to build more homes, even if they're bungalows. I mean, anything really, frankly, to get people onto the housing market and deal with the issue here of homes needs to be dealt with, no question. But the issue dominating, I think, here in Bournemouth is Nigel Farage. He's not even here, and yet his policy announced yesterday on forcibly removing those on indefinite leave to remain has set the cat amongst the pigeons, has got a big reaction in the papers. I think he's onto something, because if you look at the wave of people who are going to qualify for indefinite leave to remain, it is growing. We're going to have 270,000 next year, all because of those big numbers who arrived under Boris Johnson's time and before that in government. 2027, 400,000 to get ILR. 2028, 628,000 people will get a permanent right to remain in this country. That's the year before the general election. So you can see what Farage is doing here. Even if he's not in power till 2029, he's setting the terms of the debate. Should these people who arrived here in the so-called Boris wave, that's Copyright Reform UK, by the way, not accepted by the Tory party, if those numbers are going to definitely remain, what will the main parties do? Yet again, he's moving the goalposts around in Westminster, and they don't like it much at all.
You see, there's a thing here, though, saying that senior Reform figures said that they were privately delighted with the row over cost, likening it to the debate over Vote Leave's £350 million a week NHS savings claim during the Brexit referendum, which was categorically proved to be a load of rubbish, wasn't it? So, you know, it's very odd, isn't it? We're back to that thing about, well, I mean, there's partly lies, damn lies and statistics, but also about, you know, just all publicity is good publicity.
Yeah. Penny wasn't ever proved to be a lie. In fact, some would say, in fact, the gross figure was more than that figure on the side of the bus. It was a contentious figure then, and it remains a contentious figure now. The big row about numbers now, though, involves the Centre for Policy Studies. The Reform Party says this measure will save £234 billion. That figure was disavowed by this think tank called the Centre for Policy Studies. So, but they don't mind. Their view is, let's have a row about a number, but the point is being made. They think they are taking action to deal with the millions who arrived here legally, and say, well, if you're on benefits, why are you still here? I interviewed Ed Davey, the Lib Dem leader, yesterday. We spoke for 11 minutes. Every single minute, 11 times, he said the words Nigel Farage. These people are obsessed about him. He's on 5 MPs. Lib Dems have 72 MPs, and yeah, he seems to be driving the agenda. Later we'll hear from Ed Davey here at the conference. He'll talk about Donald Trump a lot. He'll say that he thinks the UK should give safe haven for cancer scientists who are fleeing Trump's anti-science research agenda. He says that lots of cancer scientists have had their grants cancelled by Trump's government, and it's important they can come here. He'll also call out what he calls totally false conspiracy theories peddled by the Trump administration.
Thanks, Christopher. Look forward to hearing more about that later. Thank you very much indeed. 13 minutes past 9. Time for the Great British Giveaway. Don't lose out.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Now, up next, we're talking about bungalows again. We've spoken to the Housing Minister about that just a few minutes ago. Research suggests that many of us, if you're over 55, are set to see a bungalow as their next home. Next.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Bungalows. We've been talking about bungalows throughout the programme this morning. There's such a demand for them. People like myself, you look around, you don't want an old-fashioned sort of 1930s, 40s type thing. You want something modern. And you can get some lovely...
Sexy little bungalow.
That's what you want there. But anyway, let's speak to somebody on this subject, and that is Richard Blanco. And Richard is a property expert. Hi, Richard. Richard, are you seeing this? I mean, I can see why there is a demand, but I can also see why it ain't going to happen. Because ground is expensive, land is expensive, and developers want to milk it for all they can.
Well, yes, there's a lot of truth in that, Eamonn. I love a good bungalow myself, but as you can see from those pictures you just showed of bungalows, people often develop up into the roof space, and then it's not really a bungalow anymore, it's a two-storey house. Developers like to do that, and also homeowners do, because they can see it as an opportunity. 11% of new home registrations in 1990 were bungalows, but that fell to just 1% in 2024. So we're not building as many.
And Richard, why would that be?
That will be, I think a lot of that, some of it will be fashion that, they just kind of went out of fashion for a while. They were more common in sort of coastal areas and suburbs, but a lot of it will be this issue of low density housing is not particularly popular because we need to build 1.5 million houses, as you know, in this parliament, or that's the government's target. And also where you've got low density housing, it's kind of harder then to provide services and transport because there actually aren't many people in that area because it's low density housing. So it can cause a bit of a headache for planners. And I would say we need to look at other options. If you think of other sort of European capitals where most older people live in flats and very merrily, as long as they're accessible, there's a sense of community in the flats and they're good proportioned rooms, then that can work very well. And we also need to look at things like empty homes. We've got 250,000 empty homes in England and Wales that could be brought back into use. So I think we need to think more creatively, really, about where older people might.
You're so right. And also, as you say, in Europe, they essentially, as long as you've got a lift, as long as you've got access, just go.
Bring
up.
bungalows back, we say. Richard, we've got to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed for your comments and opinions.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Miriam and Andrew, standing by. Sitting by. And what are you going to be?
That man had a great beard.
Excellent beard, wasn't it?
Extraordinary
Very
beard.
good. It looked luxurious.
Yes, I couldn't grow a beard
and
like
smooth.
that.
Yeah, lots of beard oil.
You certainly couldn't.
Yeah, enough. You're not talking about beards.
We're talking about paracetamol because we are both astonished that the President of the United States thought it was fit to talk in the Oval Office about how paracetamol is the cause of autism.
He didn't explain it very well.
Very badly.
I didn't think. And you wonder, is there some other battle going on here? Is there some sort of war against the pharmaceuticals?
Yeah. And just standing alongside him was Robert Kennedy, the Health Secretary, who is, by his own definition, a conspiracist. He was anti-vaccine.
It was a very bizarre announcement because on the one hand, they've got this potential new drug that could help with autism, which is actually very exciting and looks quite good data. But on the other hand, they've conflated the cause of autism with paracetamol and vaccines, which seems very bizarre.
And if you've just popped a couple of paracetamol this morning, you'll be a bit worried, wouldn't you?
Yeah. And also,
but there is a doctor in one of the papers today, which we did touch on earlier on, who was saying that a fever when you are pregnant actually can harm the baby.
It can be very dangerous, and which is why you often take paracetamol.
That is why this is a really important story.
Well, we will be getting some experts to talk about that, whether there is a causal link or not, so don't go anywhere. But first of all, I think we're going to have some weather.
We are. And it's cold. Well, it is here.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's set to be another chilly start this morning, but it should be mostly dry, plenty of sunny spells, just feeling that little bit cooler as we head our way further into autumn. Now, there will be some showers around coast of East Anglia, parts of Sussex and Kent. Could see a fair few showers. These could be moderate to heavy. Also across the Northern Isles, there could be some showers here, but for the bulk of the country, mostly dry, a mix of cloud and also some sunny spells, fairly similar to what we saw yesterday afternoon, and temperatures are around about average for the time of year, highs reaching around 17 to 18 degrees Celsius, but around the mid-teens across many northern areas. Later into the evening, some showers could linger around for the time in fairly similar spots. So around coast of East Anglia, Sussex and Kent could still see some showers. Across much of England and Wales, though, it should be a mostly dry end to the day. Once again, a mix of cloud and also some clearer skies. Similar across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England and also Scotland. It should be a mostly dry end to the day, but still some showers just lingering across the very far northeast of Scotland. Now, through the overnight period, we have a mixture of clear skies and also light winds, so that does lead us into a risk of mist and fog, particularly as we head our way towards dawn. And once again, it is going to turn chilly under those clear spells, so a risk of frost as we head our way towards dawn once again, and still some lingering showers across the very far southeast. Most towns and cities dropping to around 5 to 6 degrees Celsius, particularly across the north, but in any rural spots, particularly under those clearer spells, it's likely will drop below freezing once again. So Wednesday morning, another fairly chilly start, any mist and fog clearing away quite readily. Still a chance of some showers across the far southeast, across central and eastern parts of England too, though they should be mostly isolated. So once again, another dry day, a mix of cloud and sunny spells and fairly similar temperatures to what we'll see this afternoon, highs reaching around 18 to 19 degrees Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M90 southbound between Admiralty and Ferrytoll experiences delays due to a broken down vehicle. On the M61 southbound, an accident between junctions 4 and 3 has caused lane closures. In Sheffield, M1 southbound drivers exiting at junction 35 face lane restrictions due to a collision. Derby's A38 between the A610 and the A52 faces congestion causing delays. Norfolk sees issues on the A11 northbound between junctions A1075 and A47. And on the trains, there are disruptions on cross-country between